Hi, Hannah.
Hi, man.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I am enjoying my Monday.
Oh, it's a Monday.
Did you forget?
It kind of doesn't feel like a Monday. I don't know what it feels like, but I mean, I work from home, so every day is a Monday a little bit. That's the thing.
Every day's a Friday and every day's a Monday.
Yeah. There's no in between. That's it.
I relate. I strictly worked from home for, I still do, but I have other jobs in education.
Yeah,
But because
yeah.
it's college, you have a lot of leeway and free time.
That's nice. Yeah.
So a lot of time I work from home, but there was a while there for like 3-4 years strictly from home.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets a little Groundhog
It's
Day,
loosey-goosey.
right? Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
It's like every day's the same.
It's really weird. I mean, I've been doing it. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years now.
And what is it you do for the
Oh,
listeners?
sorry. Hello. Yes, I'm an artist, illustrator, primarily children's books, children's market, but dabble in other places too. So I work, strictly out of my home studio, which is not really a studio, but just a bedroom. But you know what? That suffices.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what you call it because before you did this,
Yeah.
before I had my studio,
Yeah.
when people would say like, oh, I have a home studio, I work from my studio, I thought they had like
I know.
this immaculate,
Sounds
marvelous
glamorous.
studio, big 20-foot ceilings, industrial windows
Yeah.
overlooking New York, you know.
Oh,
That's
man.
right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it turns
yeah.
out it's like, it's just the name you call a place where you like do your work.
I definitely get you. I feel like art can be done anywhere and with anything. It doesn't have to be labeled, specifically. But I would like. I mean, you say New York, I'm picturing like cabin in the woods
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean that. I was
Either
trying to
or.
appease the masses.
Yeah.
I would prefer the cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
I used to have a miniature studio in a cabin in the woods in my
my
old house
God.
that I built, and it was awesome.
That's really cool.
And that's the name. The DZ is the name of the cabin, and I had
okay.
a cabin behind that. I like to build things, and
Oh,
there were creative spaces that were kind of in the woods.
that's neat.
So I
think
do
that's-
relate. you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
I mean, I'd take New York too.
Yeah. If it wasn't $6,000 a month for rent.
Yeah. Got that lying around, yeah.
So you are an illustrator, and what is your main method of composing the art?
Primarily painting.
Painting.
Hand painting.
Acrylic, watercolor, oil?
I've been doing a little bit of acrylic lately, but mostly I work with gouache, which is like I know, sort of an in-between between watercolor and acrylic.
Yeah.
So it can be, depending on what kind, there is acrylic gouache, but it's a little more malleable than acrylic is, which it just dries and is kind of like plasticky, but not as, I think, mud can get muddy and wishy-washy as watercolor. So
How is
it's a
that
good
made?
in-between.
If it's like a hybrid,
I
do you
don't
know? You're like, I don't
No,
know.
I mean, it's similar. I'm sure it has to do with, more pigment. But really, it really is smack in the middle of those two. So I don't know, maybe they just combine them. I don't know. I should know that. I should know what I'm buying, like hundreds of dollars.
That is why there's a massive difference between engineers, artists, and
my
producers.
My brain doesn't work that way. Yeah.
I make the mistake of thinking that a lot of artists know that stuff, especially with music.
Yeah.
And they don't know how effects pedals work and microphones and guitars. They don't know how the pickups on the they just know how to make the sound and be creative. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I just forget that because I kind of do all of those things, and you have to remind yourself like not everyone.
Some of them don't even read music, right?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't know the notes. They don't know time signatures and keys. Zero music theory. No lessons. All the way to the extreme of people who are classically trained.
Of course.
And honestly, both extremes can be quite difficult to work with,
I can imagine. Yeah.
When someone's too particular and knows everything, it's a little hard.
Yeah.
Because they're striving for something that isn't there. They want that perfection. Then when someone is ultra sloppy, they don't care about anything, the end result might not be too digestible.
I feel, that overlaps, I think, in the art world, too.
Yeah.
I think there's some of that, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities in music and art. They're cousins with the same,
Definitely.
parents that are siblings. Yeah.
Yeah. Distant. No. Yeah.
And you said that you went to art school.
I did.
And where was this?
I went to CCAD, Columbus College of Art and Design.
Ohio?
In Ohio.
Are you from that area?
I'm not from that area. Sorry, Ohio. It's fine. It was fine. I know.
You're very kind. You're like, it's fun. It was fine.
I mean, I have mixed feelings on art school in general, so I think that kind of taints that a little bit. But, I got what I got from it. I probably wouldn't be doing what I was doing without it. Was it, the most inspirational part of the world? Was it, my favorite group of people? Not necessarily.
Why that school then?
So I had a kind of a weird, entrance into the art world. I wasn't going to go, I wasn't going to do art at all when I graduated high school. I actually took a year off after. I don't even know what I was going to do. I think I was a little bit lost. I wanted to go to just like a liberal arts college, have that kind of baseline experience, not even considered art as a lifestyle or a career. And then I took a year off. I went to England, which is very fancy.
Wait, where are you from originally?
I'm from here originally.
From here?
Chicago
from
area.
The northern part where you live now? Or?
Evanston. Yeah.
Evanston, okay. And when did you graduate high school?
2010.
2010, okay.
Yeah, so I'm 30.
31?
30.
I'm 2 years older.
Okay.
I'm 08, so I get it.
Yeah. So,
okay, that's a nice area up there. You weren't thinking about like Chicago art schools?
So that's kind of what happened. I had chose to spend some of my money on going to have this experience after high school. And I don't know if you know the tuition price at the School of the Art Institute.
I do. I went there.
Oh, baby. Yeah.
I went to Columbia and there. So I went to two different art schools. I teach at Columbia now.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I have too much experience. And I teach at a public university too. So I have experience from public, being in the arts program, private, liberal, like Columbia, and then ultra fine art institute, the Art Institute.
Totally.
So everything you're about to say or what you're feeling, I completely understand.
Yeah. And in retrospect, probably it could have made it work. And I wish I had considered it more. I think there was also part of me that was like, I grew up here. I want to go to Ohio. I don't know. But it just was kind of within, 6 to 8 hours from home.
You can drive it.
But still not as expensive. Definitely not as expensive. I don't know what it is now, but.
Like $60,000 a year. The Art Institute of Chicago.
That's nuts. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know lots of people in the I mean, I have one of my best friends works at the Art Institute, School of the Art, and so I know it's doing good things. It just, school, college in general, I don't know. I feel weird about sometimes, especially with art, but
feel free to.
I feel bad. You're like,
no,
I'm going to tell all my colleagues.
No, I completely understand.
Okay.
And I do what I can to combat that. Like
totally. Yeah.
Especially being in a place now, I'm not supposed to be where I'm at right now. It doesn't even make sense to me. Sometimes when I'm just like in class and students are like, Professor, I'm like, oh my, this is
who, me?
I when I graduated high school in May 2008, I'm 18 years old, and I applied to be a carpenter. I'm really into building.
That's awesome.
And I applied to be a carpenter, but this is the housing crash of 2008.
Oh, lovely.
So they told me, I applied to 3 unions, carpenter, electrical union, and I believe pipe fitting. Wow. They all told me 7-year wait.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. And they were not kidding. 7 years later, they called me. So it changed my trajectory.
Yeah.
And I was like, because my whole life I built stuff. My family was like, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Wow.
And I only ever cared about like doing creative things. I didn't care about school. School made no sense to me.
I gotcha.
Yes, I want to do that. And then it didn't work. So I was like, I guess I'll go to college. And somehow I found my way here. So I know what it's like to not be destined for it, not be that kind of academic.
Yes.
And then somehow still make it through.
Yes.
And so I relate to my students that come from harsher backgrounds.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic struggles.
Of course.
And I actually like that more. So I had a hard time at the Art Institute.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, an art institute that's the size of a high school has $60,000 tuition in downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Has a certain type of student body.
I can imagine, yeah.
And I did not fit in.
Yeah.
But I still loved it. The professors were really cool. I met some really awesome ones. What that expensive tuition gets you are some of the best facilities I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Ever.
Yeah.
Amazing facility. Have you been around the school? Yeah, the facilities are remarkable.
Yes, very, very good. Yeah.
So there's massive pros and cons, but
For sure.
to be honest, I will tell you what I think
Yeah.
school and education is.
Yeah.
You can get something out of it if
Yeah.
you put a lot of effort into it, but the biggest thing it does is this massive adult social club of connections in the industry for jobs.
Yes.
It's not really about what you learn.
Yeah.
It's not really about your GPA. It is if you want to keep going to like grad school and stuff and continue.
Right.
But if you want to just get in and get out,
it's
this massive fraternity. It's this massive club. And then you get this little tiny thin piece of low quality paper that says like, I did this thing.
Yeah.
And once you're through it and you get a job or you're going down a career path, it doesn't matter anymore.
I know.
It amounts to like nothing.
Yeah.
So it's really a way to build connections. So I push my students like, that's what it is. So do this thing and make the connections here and meet other like-minded things and get way more out of college than a GPA and a piece of paper.
Yes,
make
for sure.
artists and friends and collectives and DIY spaces and do these things with other like-minded people because if they're here in this class, especially the more advanced you go in classes, they're probably interested in what you are too.
Yeah.
That's all I can really do,
Yeah, I mean the community. Yeah, that's huge. And I guess I'm sure it differs in different art schools, but I never felt. Or maybe I don't, maybe I didn't take advantage enough of it, but I felt like the focus was on the skill set and the industry but not enough even to like introduce you to people. It was just sort of like, this is what to expect, kind of. I don't know. And I just felt a little bit, I don't know. I wish I could go back in time is what I am saying. But
what would you do differently?
I don't know. I think my my concerns with art school is that it's very segmented. So you put in your major, and this could apply to normal other colleges too. But I think, and you're sort of pigeonholed into this industry and this world that. Art is art, and I feel like I wished I had been given more opportunities to, like, take a different kind of class or take 7 of the, we had, like, maybe 1 allowance for screen printing for a semester.
Okay.
I wish, and I definitely take onus. I think some of that's on me. But I think, I don't know, I wish that it was a little more open, and
So it wasn't the type of art school that was interdisciplinary where you could go to different disciplines?
No, not really. I mean, you could take electives, but, and again, I don't know what it's like now, 10 years later, but, and I do think going into art schools, I was like, well, I want to be an illustrator, so I have to do an illustration degree, and I wish, and that's why I actually didn't also apply to the Art Institute, because I don't think they have an illustration degree specific undergrad. Maybe they do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They might have something close to it.
Yeah.
Because they definitely cover a lot of practices and disciplines.
Right. Yeah.
I do enjoy their interdisciplinary program. Like for the MFA, I was in sound, but I could have not taken any sound classes. And only I didn't take that many because I took so many and I read so much and I just knew so much already.
Yeah.
I took a lot more film classes. I really like film, so I took a bunch of really cool film classes.
That's
and
awesome.
Stuff I just never learned. Or if I did do sound, I would be a TA,
a
teacher's assistant for the sound classes that were focused on film.
Neat.
So I was a TA for like cinematic sound, sound and image. So if you're a TA as a grad student, for those who don't know, it's kind of like getting paid to take a free course.
Right.
Well, you can at least get that out of it.
That's neat,
If you pay attention and try, you can just take a course while you're working, and it's free, and they're paying you. So that's what I did, and it was fun.
That's really smart. I mean, yeah, I definitely, I should backtrack and say a lot of it is on me, but I think, and I chose to go as a smaller school for sure than the Art Institute. So that, affects it. But
Yeah.
I feel like I missed some sort of more play time with art, and I just got very like tunnel vision on like have to, cold call publishers, agents, and I like feel like some of those, I don't know, I'm trying to do it more in my free time, just kind of like paint bigger and do different mediums and things like that. And I think, I wish, and ceramics, I've been taking ceramics classes now,
Nice.
which is fun. And I wish, like, why didn't I do that in school? I didn't really even know I could. We had, like, it felt very, I don't know, one lane. But
Yeah.
that's, nothing against them. It's probably more on me. But
Some people
I regret, yeah.
Some people, they don't realize the opportunities they have at
Maybe,
school.
maybe,
They
yeah.
might not have realized it. Maybe they
That's
weren't
true.
explained. Also, some advisors don't explain that stuff well. I have so many students or friends that have had issues because it's a little bit on them for not paying attention to the layout of the credits, but they're like, oh, my advisor told me this, but now I have to do an like.
And then you
To me,
miss.
I didn't have that problem because I ignored my advisors. My parents didn't know anything about
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
And I just did the math. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, they say take this many, there's
Yeah.
this many credits in a semester. Boom, boom,
Can
boom.
make it work. Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
But some advisors make mistakes. Some professors don't
Yeah.
give enough information. It all
Yeah.
depends. And every school's different. Some
Yes.
experiences are so much better than others.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
at a school, you can have one amazing professor that almost makes it worth
That's so
going,
true.
just because they were so profound
Yes.
and helpful
Yeah.
and more like a mentor.
For sure. And I definitely had some of that. But I think, again, it's like, I was very cynical my whole life. And so I just,
Forever.
I mean, literally, yeah.
What do you mean? Like,
Well, I
'cause
just,
the artwork you make
I know,
feels
you'd think, I know.
not cynical at all.
That's my escape. That's my pretend world.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. No, I think I was sort of like, okay, well, I'm here. It costs money. I was like very aware of money and the strain of money. And so I was like, this isn't time for play. Like, art is a business. Art, I took a year off.
You knew that at 18 years old?
Yeah.
I definitely did
I
not.
didn't know it, but I felt it. I felt like I have to be exceptional and, follow the path and stick to the path. And, I think I wish, again, I wish I could go back and do it a little bit differently. But I also don't know if that was that available, like made as available to me. It was like the graphic design kids and the animation kids and the illustration kids, and they were very different and separate. And there was, you could take electives, but then you would be with other, like people who weren't animation students. So it was like no one really knew what they were doing. I don't know. It was just, it would have been fun to have more collab. And I think I'm missing that now, especially.
I was going to ask, do you do that now?
No.
Why not?
That's a good question.
Is it because you live where you live? I won't say it on the mic.
It is, though.
It is.
It is, and I think I'm ignorant a little bit of the scene. I think I just kind of, again, like keep my head down and just work.
Mm-hmm.
And then, self-combust when things aren't going well and
Let's
only
get
have,
you out there.
yeah, I know.
We'll find you a place.
My coming out party as an artist.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
The thing that saved me, because I didn't live in Chicago I moved when I was 32. I lived in the same house my whole life.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that saved me. I lived in this same place
Yeah.
and started my own thing, and that was the attraction. So I
Got it.
brought the people to me. I never had to leave. I just was having so many shows, podcasts, events, bands coming over, albums, live sessions, the festival. So everyone came to me. I didn't have to like try to go to the city to find it. I mean, I did. I went to a ton of shows and played shows.
Sure.
But the ratio is like 80 to 10. Like 80% was just staying at home and letting the art world come to me.
That's awesome.
And now I'm here, so it's even easier. I just live here, but yeah, it's really important. If you that's a unique circumstance. I'm not saying it like everyone should do that. Not everyone can. If you live in an apartment, you can't do what I did, and I understand that. So if you don't have that space and opportunity, you got to go out. You got to be a go-getter.
Yeah.
You got to go out there, and it's hard.
Yeah, no,
it's exhausting to like
it is,
go to all the events and meet more people and remember everyone's names and strike. You seem like a very genuine person, so to strike a genuine friendship instead of just trying to get an angle for a job or
it's tricky.
Some type of commission.
Yes,
to not be disingenuous. And if it's hard.
You know. Or to go to, sometimes I feel like I fall into the trap of going a little bit in the other direction and being like self-deprecating to the point where people are like, do you like what you do? I don't know if you're...
Give me an example of what you mean.
Just like, I don't know, maybe I'm working on it, but I find that it's hard to introduce myself, even after, 7 years of doing this full time or whatever, like, as an artist without some like little bit of, oh yeah, I'm an artist.
I heard it when you...
Really?
Yeah.
I know,
I didn't
man.
hear it. I didn't actually hear it.
Yeah.
Because I also have struggled with this. Everything I do in my life points to the fact that I am what I actually am.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Like every sun up to sundown, everything I do on my phone.
Sleep, breathe. Yeah.
It's being an engineer, musician, a producer, sound artist, a professor.
Wow.
I do all of it.
Yeah.
And yet I'm still like, and I mean, I have some answers. I don't know if there's a therapist around. I have answers to it. A lot of it's the upbringing.
For sure.
Upbringing was like hence the carpenter field. It's like, that's a job.
Yes.
Not everything I just said, not happening. Yeah. That's for... I'm sorry, folks. That's for rich people. Like rich people can do that.
That's a hobby. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so. It almost sounds superficial. Like an artist always feels like that's for people who have money, who can take the time to do that.
Totally.
Which can be true and is true for a majority of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Doesn't
That's
hurt.
what I learned at the Art Institute of Chicago. But it's not 100% true.
No.
And the only way to be that exception is to go for it.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. I know. And I'm very aware of it. And it's not like a shame thing. Like, I love what I do. I couldn't do anything else.
In 7 years.
I know. And I'm very
it.
lucky. I know. This is the
You just did a residency.
Me. I know, man.
For how long?
2 weeks.
In Maine?
In Maine.
Where at Maine?
It was a little island off Portland.
Wait. Wait, don't tell me island because I've been there. I took a ferry to it. Is it that island? Is it the one with the shop right when you get in?
It might be.
Not Isle, that's a different island. It was it has a cemetery there.
It's called Peaks Island.
Yes.
Oh, you've been there?
I've been there. It's so cool. You spent 2 weeks
so
there?
Cool. I know.
I'm so jealous of you right now.
That was
my
cabin in the woods fantasy.
Did you walk on the cemetery there?
I did not, actually.
I mean, it's not that big. How'd you miss it?
I don't know. I guess I went the other way around.
It was so cool. I went there 8 years ago on a road trip.
Oh, my God.
And I loved it. I played pool at the pool hall, not on the island, like in Portland. And then, lobster rolls, all the stuff you do when you're there.
Yeah.
And then I took a ferry out to Peaks Island, walked around that like all day, spent the whole day there, went to the restaurant there and all that. That's cool. It's so beautiful.
You know what? It's up and coming too. I feel like there's like a music scene. Was definitely in Portland.
I know some bands from there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I saw some like bluegrass music while I was there. That was really cool.
Did you fly out there or drive?
I flew.
It's a good hike to drive.
Yeah. I thought about that. I thought,
it's a beautiful road trip,
an adventure, but it's like, going to add 6 days to the trip. So, I don't know.
That's really
cool. Had to get home.
Yeah. That you did that. What was it through, the residency?
Yeah, so there's a couple there who run an institute called the Illustration Institute, Scott and Nancy Nash. And they find creatives. I actually, not just illustrators, and I think they're kind of branching out. And he's a very musical guy, so I'm sure
Scott Nancy.
Yeah,
Nash.
yeah, for real. Oh my God, you would love it.
I would. I mean, I love visiting, but to be there for 2 weeks and to really take it in.
Yeah, I mean, only they just you get to stay in this beautiful little cabin. There's a studio behind the house that's just like free reign. They're like, yeah, use whatever's here, do whatever you want.
That's amazing.
And the only thing I had to give a talk.
You said that like it's the worst thing
well,
ever. You don't like talks?
I had never given one before.
Really?
So this was like a first.
Since college,
I was a little
probably?
bit anxious. Right. It's been a while. And I'm pretty. I try to be articulate, and I don't like. I'm not. It doesn't make me nervous necessarily, because once I'm up there, I can talk forever. But
right. Plus, you know what you're doing. Like you've been doing it for a long
about
time.
right, and you talk about yourself. So who doesn't love that? But I think it was the I don't know. I'm at a point in my career where it's a little bit of a lull, and I was having a little bit of like imposter syndrome stuff. Like, who would want to listen to me? I don't have the advice. I'm still waiting on the answers. So it was a little bit weird. I know, and it ended up being nice. I talked to primarily college kids at Mecca there.
Right. To them, you're the top dog, because if you went to school for it, you're also 7 to 9 years older than a lot of them.
Right.
10 years older.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're that age gap, along with you already got a degree and you're doing it full time and you're here from Chicago, like to you, you're like, this is just normal in life. To them, it's like, wow,
they don't
that's
know.
amazing.
Yeah.
They don't know the
They
pain
don't know
and
my
suffering.
bank account. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I hope. I know. And it's again my own anxieties and stuff, but ultimately, no. It's such a good experience. I would go
great
back.
For your resume too.
Yeah. I want to move there. I think.
Isn't it awesome?
Man, it's so cool.
I loved it too. I was
heavily
convinced by. Well, I've done a lot. Did you say what I did?
Yeah. What were you
road
doing
tripping
there?
Oh,
okay.
I rode.
Okay.
I have driven most of this country. Everything but like the far 6 states to the west.
Yeah.
I've pretty much been to every single other one.
Those are some
via
good ones.
car.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know that's the next one. It's the hardest to do
For
through
sure.
a car because it's so far and every city is so far.
Yeah.
East Coast is a joke as far as like getting like.
Yeah.
I did Portland, Maine, Boston, Providence, Rhode Island.
Ooh, I love Providence.
Connecticut, New Haven.
Nice.
New York City, Brooklyn, the whole jazz there.
Oh my goodness.
Then Philadelphia, then Pittsburgh. You can do all those within, and then DC, Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're talking 1 hour to
For
2
sure.
hours each one. Bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam.
It's like being in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. And even the Midwest is like that times 2.
Yeah.
It's still not that bad. Everything's 2 to 4 hours.
6-ish. Yeah.
If you want to go really far, it might like Minneapolis might be 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
But not to it. You can go Milwaukee, Madison, then that. Like there's a lot to do.
I
But
gotcha.
out west, you're like Seattle to Portland.
You forget how big.
Portland and San Francisco. Maybe I'll stop in Eugene. You're like, this is far.
I still think California, like San Francisco and LA are like neighbors, but they're definitely not.
It's like
in my
going.
mind,
It's further than Nashville to
I know,
Chicago, I
it's
believe.
insane.
Or it's like the same thing. It's not even close.
It's deceiving.
Can you hear California, and then you
blame-
find out that California's GDP is like 5th in the world.
Oh my God.
It's its own country.
Yeah. That's
It's
insane.
a big state
I
with
know.
a lot going on.
I've never been to California, actually.
I haven't been in a while, but I went when I was a kid, and we're in the works of planning out to go to film bands. I've been going to cities to record the bands.
Do you have a favorite city? Like
my favorite city I've ever been in my life, I really, really enjoy it, not including Chicago.
I was going to say, don't say Chicago.
I love Chicago, so I'll keep it
yeah.
out of here. I really like New York City,
Okay.
but by far the best city I've ever been is Mexico City.
Oh.
I had a ball in Mexico
man.
City. Don't let me back there.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Your face is on some posters there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
kidding.
No, it was
Yeah.
such a great time. The food
Yeah.
was amazing. The people. I'm half.
Yeah.
Wait, so I'm half Mexican, but everyone thinks I'm Jewish. So,
Yeah.
and I say that because probably once a week or every other week, someone, like last week, a student was like, "Yom Kippur, happy hour." I'm like, I'm not Jewish. And he's like, wait, what? I'm like, I know my first two names are,
Yeah,
Hebrew,
yeah,
Benjamin,
yeah.
Joseph, but I'm not Jewish. And I did a 23andMe. I'm 7%.
Okay.
Jew. That's not enough.
Well,
It's
as a
something.
full Jew, I can give you an honorary if you'd like.
Thank you. You are
I will
the
phone the committee.
You are like the 20th
Does
person.
everyone say that?
No, not everyone, but you're like the 20th person to say it. More as of late, and it's been only artists.
Oh, okay.
Which is who I talk to the
Yeah.
most. And it's like between I knew just between when you said Evanston, like, or Skokie.
Yeah,
either of
pretty
those
much.
is a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
If you're a Chicago person, you know what that means.
Yes.
Any North Shore area like that, you can kind of assume.
Yeah.
Not fully assume, but you can kind of.
You can
but
tell
then
a little bit.
looks and name, your
yes,
last name,
pretty,
all that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wasn't born yesterday. But I get it so much.
Yeah.
I think and then I'm also like a good chunk Polish.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think the Polish Ashkenazi Jew takes a lot of that,
Yes.
takes a lot together.
Well, I think the dark hair and
Right.
everyone.
It happens so, and the
Yeah.
more my beard goes out, the more I get it.
Oh man.
Oh my God. I get it so much. I had this one band, I won't say who they are, great people, great band, but there was like this Jewish event that they were playing because they're Jewish people. And they invited to me, and I was like, you can go, and if you're Jewish, it's free, but just tell them that you are, like, we'll give you the pass. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, I appreciate
a weird
the pass
thing. Yeah.
but
yeah.
like,
It feels a little.
I
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
No.
I would never do that, but
Someone
I
would
just
know.
love that like people are
Yeah.
seriously like saying it and
Oh,
telling
yeah,
it, like,
yeah.
all the time.
Anyone's welcome.
And it just cracks me up.
Yeah.
It's funny. But I don't even know how we got in this.
So you're half.
Half Mexican.
Yeah. Right.
So when I went there,
Yes.
Mexico City,
Yes.
a lot of the food is familiar, but it's even more authentic
Yeah.
than what I grew up with my grandma and that side of the family. I got to visit family I'd never met before and
That's so
stay
nice.
like my grandpa's old house, like
Oh,
these
wow.
really cool things. And then I just got to work with bands, and their music scene was the coolest thing
I
ever.
bet. Yeah.
It blew my mind. And my Spanish isn't that good.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
It's not that good. Unfortunately, I'm part of the generation where the parent was attempting to assimilate
I see.
because they were told
Yeah.
you shouldn't speak Spanish.
Right.
Be English or speak English.
Yeah.
Be American, speak English.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have parents born in major cities in the pretty much post World War II,
Yeah.
but like the 1950s baby boomer era.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of them were told by their parents, like, because they were immigrants. Could be Italy, could be Mexico, could be wherever, and they're told like, speak the language because they
Right.
know how important it
That's-
was
yeah.
and how mistreated you would be if you did
Unfortunately.
not speak
Yeah.
the language.
Yeah.
It's like, be American, speak the language,
Yeah.
get a job. You have a social security number. You're born here. You have a leg up. Like, do
Right.
that. And they did what they had to. They had
Yeah.
to survive. It's not like it is now.
No. No.
You know, a lot of parents now, they just teach their kids language. It's like cool. It's like
Right.
acceptable.
It is.
It's like it wasn't acceptable.
Early. Yeah.
My
yeah.
father was beaten by the nuns at his Catholic school if he spoke Spanish.
Wow.
That would never happen now. They'd be like, wow, that's so cool.
I know.
You speak Spanish.
Now, yeah.
So
yeah.
when people say, why don't you do 'em? Why don't you? I'm like, short story, my dad never taught me. Long story, it's sad. Like,
Yeah.
we should have been able to and learn.
Well,
it, but
it's harder to learn when you're older, I think, too.
it's
Yeah.
hard. I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying, but I
Yeah.
could have easily learned it as a kid if
Yeah.
my dad was just, if he felt comfortable because his upbringing allowed him.
Right.
Then he would have been like, yeah, of course I'll speak Spanish to my
Right.
kids.
Ugh.
You know,
Dang.
mom speaks English, dad speaks Spanish. Boom, you can learn both.
Yeah.
It's not hard when you're
Yeah.
born into it.
Yeah. Well, and now it's valuable, too, to speak. I
It'd
mean,
be amazing now.
Yeah. I know.
Like where I live, there's so many
yeah.
Hispanic individuals around here.
Yeah.
A lot of my students. I mean, I love Mexican food. I'm right by Pilsen. I'm always getting Mexican food. But yeah, my favorite city, Mexico City. How about you?
Oh gosh. I mean, I definitely loved Maine. That sounds lame. We were just talking about it, but I like.
Hannah, Maine is a state.
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
Oh no,
I'm messing with you. Portland.
Portland. But I'm a ocean girl. Not like beach life, live, laugh, love ocean girl.
Wait a minute, not like live, laugh, love with a White Claw, and like a koozie.
Not like Florida beach life. You know what I'm saying?
I know 100% what you're saying.
Like mountains to one side,
like
ocean
Oregon,
over here. Yeah,
Washington,
yes. And I've never been to Oregon,
California.
but I was going to say Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I love Seattle.
I could see that.
Yeah,
This makes
yeah.
sense. Portland too on the other side of it.
Similar vibes,
Maine.
definitely. Kind of that New England vibe.
I loved how there was a feeling there going through Vermont, New Hampshire, like going through all the New England states.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island.
It's
the only part of the country that feels it has this like historical feeling to it. And you could feel it in the air. You could feel it in the small towns and the old buildings.
I love small towns.
It finally has some age to it. When you're in Chicago, at best, you'll get a 150-year-old building. Right. Maybe a 160-year-old.
In Skokie, everything's from the 70s. It's awful.
Well, was it like a more new area?
I shouldn't say that. I mean, the part where I live, like all the houses are. I'm just. Yeah.
Do you live near the yellow line?
I do, right near the yellow line, and right near the highway. So you could have technically took the yellow
to the red all the way here and spent like 2 hours doing it.
Yeah, I could have. That would have.
I live right by the red line, 35th, Sox.
Yeah.
But it would be brutal. I wouldn't get it.
It wasn't a terrible drive. It's
just you would have done it at rush hour, and
that's
the red line at rush hour might be the worst one
hell
of
on
all
earth.
of them.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I've heard. But
that's a cool area, though.
What?
Skokie? Well, when you're not from the north suburbs.
I know. I mean,
and you
Evanston,
go around Evanston and
definitely.
Wilmette.
I'm so lucky that I grew up there. I shouldn't hate on it. I don't hate on it.
No, you should hate on it. It's okay.
I mean, what I shouldn't do.
Clean. Beach, the food. There's this Japanese restaurant I've been to. What is it called? It's not too far from a Illuminati's or Giordano's.
Oh, is it Joy's?
It's not Joy. There's a Joy up there because there's Joy in Chinatown.
Yeah.
It's a sushi. It's a pretty nice restaurant. BYOB. It's on like a main street. I know nothing about Evanston.
Oh God, there's like a million now.
I can't think of it. I just know when I go up there, I'm always in awe of the architecture of these homes. They're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
They're wild.
And being near the lake is, again, I feel very privileged in where I grew up and where I live now.
How far were you from the lake growing up?
Not super close. We were like on the west side of like Ridge and Asbury.
I know where that is because my girlfriend lives off of Ridge in Rogers Park.
Okay, so yes, so I lived west.
Right, it's right before Howard, so it's right where you meet Evanston.
Cool.
So I'm starting to get more familiar with that area.
There's some nice food places over there. Peckish Pig, I like, is over there.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot of food there before. That's right at the very border of Evanston.
Yeah.
Look at that. Small world.
So we all know. We're not so different after all. But so my fiance used to live in Andersonville.
Okay.
And
I love that area.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Duh.
But no.
That's what you pretty much said.
I mean, it's cool, but it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were looking to move in together, it's just like his place was really tiny. It was 1 bedroom, and had some neighbor issues. So we were, let's. Quiet life. It would be so cool to just have like our own space and our own yard. And
so you live in a home now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is fun. And he was doing
like housework fun, like yard work, and gutters.
I
grass,
say that
bushes.
with immense sarcasm,
you said that with some
dripping.
Like, pain. If people who can't see, you're like,
yeah. I do not have a green thumb, I will just say. Neither of us do. So we've had a lot of issues with lawn care the past few years.
I have the greenest thumbs. Where I had the fest was an acre of land that I grew up taking care of my whole life. I'm a pro.
And I wish that I did. I really, really do, because a lot of what I draw and paint and what, I take inspiration from is nature. But I don't know. We inherited this garden that just like so massive. All of our neighbors say, like, oh, she was out every day, twice a day, pruning, weeding, and we just don't. I just don't have time. So sometimes it's a little wild, which I don't think looks bad, but we have some neighbors that are not too fond of it. That's what you get in the suburbs is neighbors who are...
Wait, but you got to preface that. Yeah. That's what you get in certain suburbs.
Oh, sure. Excuse me, yes.
And those certain suburbs tend to be...
Pardon, yeah.
Suburbs that have certain...
Yeah.
People with certain statuses.
And I will say where we live doesn't feel too uppity like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and Skokie actually is pretty multicultural.
That's good.
All of our neighbors are, different. So that is nice. That feels better than certain parts of Evanston and certain other suburbs too.
What's the town above Wilmette or...
Oh my gosh, Winnetka.
Winnetka, the one, but it's called
Kenilworth.
Kenilworth.
Oh my God.
By the way, those listening, go on your phone or computer or whatever and Google Kenilworth. Actually, let me redact that. Google most expensive cities or towns.
It is, isn't it?
Or wealthiest. Look up wealthiest towns in Illinois. It's probably because of where it is. It's probably the wealthiest town in the Midwest. And it's where billionaires live.
Yeah.
The Obamas.
Isn't it the Home Alone house is up there? Or that
might be,
Winnetka.
I think, is that Winnetka or Highland Park?
One of those. Yeah, those places.
Those towns. So I looked at the top 10 nicest cities or most expensive ones, and 9 of the 10 were that area.
Oh my God.
They were all that
I
area.
believe it.
Like Lake Forest, boom, 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 just all right there.
I know.
And if you go there... I was in Lake Forest this morning.
Oh, okay.
I went swimming yesterday in the lake. I was the only one in the water.
I love swimming.
Because I'm crazy and it's October. But it was nice out. And I'm like, I'm
it's not bad today,
Yeah, I'm like, when I go to the beach in the fall, there are 2-year-olds in the water because they don't understand things yet. And then there's me and everyone looking at me. Yeah, I almost like going to those places as this unique,
oh my gosh,
fun little case study.
For sure.
I just want to see how, where I live on the south side, I don't have to go far before I see some different type of living. And a lot of it is borderlining poverty or is, and it's sad. Yeah. And then I can go up there and I'm like, what? These are the people that run the city, live up there.
I know.
The CEOs, the top CEOs, And it's a strange difference.
It's a really strange difference.
And they find me strange. Man, do I get eyes walking around those areas?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, even me. I was just there the other day. I like to go also like, it's like a little mini vacation. Like I can pretend like, oh, maybe I live here, and they wouldn't know.
I'm a millionaire, don't you know?
I have one of these houses, but then they see my paint-stained car and my overalls, and never mind.
They know right away.
They do.
You don't have a German car. They know right away. Or maybe you do. I don't know. But
no, if it's a Honda Fit,
right? Yeah. If it's Japanese, they're like,
yeah. Oh yeah. I can't get away with fitting in there, but I like to pretend. Get my little coffee.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you we'll walk around some of those areas.
Sometimes. It's pretty. There's
beautiful.
There's the Baha'i Temple is really beautiful.
It's such a beautiful spot.
Yeah, it's like a weird, just like bubble of, the gardens there are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like parts of Highland Park are nice too.
Mm-hmm.
But
that whole North Shore.
It's a weird conglomerate.
Yeah. It is. It is. And if you're not from Chicago, drive down the South Shore and East Chicago or West Indiana, and then Gary, where Michael Jackson's from, or Freddie Gibbs, the hip hop artist, and then go to the North Shore, and you will be like, how is this the same country? What is going on with society?
I've made that drive many times. It's a weird one. What is Gary? It's a
it was a thriving, just like
industry,
Detroit,
right?
thriving
Yeah.
city that had a lot of foundries, steel mills,
Yeah.
and probably the people that
Yeah.
live in Lake Bluff, who were the CEOs of
right.
those
I
companies, were like,
know.
let's send it to China and India, and then destroy millions of people's lives.
Midwest is weird. Yeah. Yeah. But
I mean, that's exactly what happened.
No, yeah.
And it sucks.
It does.
I don't know how we got on this
I don't
sad
remember.
subject.
I think fortunate to live where I live, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you said you're a
blah.
cynical person.
Oh, yeah.
You don't.
Yes, me, the children's book artist.
Yeah, so
hates
let's
people.
let's talk about some art.
Okay.
You can you please elaborate on the illustration? You said children's book art.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to focusing on children's book? Why
Sure.
that world, that genre?
Yeah. Well, I should say, too, I'm on top of painting, I'm also a writer. I like writing.
Okay.
And so I have a creative writing minor, whatever that means.
It means you put a
So,
decent amount
yeah.
of focus into writing.
And that's honestly, I think I might be a better writer than I am an artist.
Really?
Well, it comes to me easier.
Same.
Yeah.
Right. Like really creative,
Not
like
to
poetry
like,
level.
right,
type of-
right.
It just flow when there's no rules. I
Yeah.
don't like rules. If you haven't known, I just don't like them.
Yeah.
I find a lot of rules to be a little, especially when it comes to creativity.
For sure. Yeah.
There's like a couple. It's like one rule is like this is a writing utensil.
Yeah.
And it needs to be sharpened, and that's a piece of paper. If you poke too hard, you'll go through it.
Yes.
Those are some rules to
That's
follow. Everything that
basics.
happens in between.
Yeah. Which is my thing about art
whatever you
school
want.
a little bit is like, but anyway.
We
I know.
went
Bring it back
under
on
that.
it. I know.
We can get back
Sorry.
to it.
So I have always written stories and made up stories, as you do, when you're little. But I was like children's books I think are like a safety. They're for every kid. You can pinpoint certain memories and things from your childhood by the books that you were read or that you were interested in. Everybody has, like Harry Potter is an example, but like things like that, like the
You like
stories.
Harry Potter?
Well, I did. I mean, I do. It's a little trickier now to love Harry Potter just because of J.K. Rowling. But
Oh, are you able to separate art from an artist?
I don't know. Yeah. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. So
It's 3 yes and no's. It's almost like saying Beetlejuice.
I think it's there he is. It depends. It depends.
Say it one more time.
It depends. I think with that I think I'm not someone who typically like, I don't know. The internet is a scary place. I think you have to be careful. But there are people who like to police some of that stuff a lot, and I don't do that. Like if you're gonna draw fan art of Harry Potter, that's fine. You can do that without someone being like, well, you're supporting her, things like that. That's happened to me before. So
Really? I have
Literally.
something to say to those people.
yeah,
If you
Yeah.
have a problem with a J.K. Rowling,
yeah.
I'm going to go extreme. A Bill Cosby,
Hey, yeah.
a what's his name? Kevin Spacey. He just went to prison. From Chicago, R&B.
Oh,
It's on
R.
my tongue.
Kelly.
R. Kelly. Harvey Weinstein. It's fine to have a problem with them as people, but if you think that they're the only people
Yeah.
that have done bad things,
In the-
that are at the
in the
top
media
echelon
world, yeah.
of their world, we're talking about
Yeah,
unchecked power,
for sure.
immense amount of money,
Yeah.
connections, and the ability to shape culture.
Yes.
You probably should start hating
Yeah.
everything that's above your pay
Which-
grade.
yeah.
Because you just haven't heard about it yet.
Yes.
It just hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So it's like you're
I know.
cherry picking.
Well, exactly, and I think sometimes people like that. I believe it. This is so far from what I was saying, but it's important. Like I think you should make small changes in your own communities and like in your own world and do what
You're
you
speaking
can.
my language, yes.
And I find it really overwhelming the state of things. So that's kind of how I feel like I reckon with it also, but I think that's more important than like telling, someone that they should take down a post of Hagrid or whatever.
Is that what happened to you?
No, not, well, it wasn't Hagrid, but I did do, yes.
Someone said that?
Yeah. What? And then
don't say that on the phone made by slave labor in the Congo in the year 2023. Like, what are you talking about?
I know.
Oh my goodness, it's so crazy.
I know. It's a weird one out there. But anyway.
The internet is a weird place. I'm a post and ghost thing.
I wish.
That's what the folder on my iPhone says of all my apps. It's labeled post and ghost. Post
Fascinating.
Because all I'm trying to do is promote people.
Yeah.
It's what I'm doing right now. It's just like I find interesting people that are in my world.
Yeah.
I like to learn and have conversations, find out stuff I don't know.
Yes.
Humble myself. And then like help grow what they're doing because I think it's cool. Yeah. It's simple.
And that's a small,
and
community change.
You start with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You start with if you have roommates, your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever.
Yeah.
Then your family and your friends, then your neighbors, then your community. You are not going to change the president.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not. You're not going to change sexual assault with billionaires and millionaires that have power. Like, you can eventually, a collective can. But like in the moment of you berating someone, you're not changing anything.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
You got to start on an individual level and go from there.
Yes.
If you do that well, others notice. That's how you can create a movement.
Yeah.
That's what has created really good, positive leaders.
Yes.
They started with themselves and others enjoyed it and it got a collective together. And that's the healthiest and most productive way. It just takes a while and it's hard. So
and you have to,
right,
exactly. It is hard. But if you don't have the funds to just donate, then that's, you have to find other ways. So,
absolutely.
But anyway, Harry Potter, that's what it was. Okay, books when you were a kid. Oh, God. Yikes.
It's okay. This whole podcast is about tangents.
Okay.
And we always find our course.
I talk too much. But so children's books deeply, deeply impacted my just upbringing and shaped who I was. My dad in specific, he's a very kind of hippy dippy. He's a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Hippy dippy therapist.
Hippy dippy therapist.
Still practicing.
I'll
have to hit him up.
I got you. And he has like every single book about King Arthur that you could imagine. He's like one of those people. He's very spiritual.
That's awesome.
He's very, storytelling was a big part of growing up. And I was really shy as a little girl. So we would make up stories as a way to kind of, it's like narrative therapy almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think like that's so important, and it's hard because children's books, I feel like now they can feel a little preachy, which is not what I like.
Could you give an example?
I think there's like a tendency in just like all kids media to like have there be a lesson at the end, like wrapped up in a bow, like, and that's important. That's just not what I want to make, but like, be nice to your friends and don't bully or, things like that. Like, of course that's important, but I'm more interested in like the creative, just like inspiring little kids to imagine and create, because I'm essentially, I want to make books for myself as a little kid. That's kind of what orients me right now, which I liked, like Maurice Sendak. I love Where the Wild Things Are and In the Night Kitchen.
Do you think a lot of writers, that's where the inspiration comes from?
I don't know. I think so. I think if not for themselves, for someone
maybe
in their
kid
past,
or something,
or their
sibling.
parent, yeah. And I think that's important. I in my talk I just gave, I talked a lot about kind of when you're lost, how to orient yourself back to your kind of North Star. And I think one of those things is like, who are you making your art for?
Right. It's really important.
Yeah. And like,
you sometimes lose sight of it.
For sure. And especially when it feels very industry heavy in business and you Google like, what do I need to be a children's book illustrator? And it will give you like lists like you need 10 pieces of barnyard animals and like things that like are arbitrary and you don't need it. I don't think. And then it just becomes like a checklist where you're like, okay, I have to make a cow piece now. Like, I think that it has created a little bit of a saturated market of a lot of the same kind of stuff, and a little bit of a safety, like, and then people don't want to be too provocative or weird. There's this
Take
whole
some risks.
yeah. There's
Not
this,
like a bad risk, but try something new.
Yeah, there's a lot of discourse in the children's book world right now about oh yeah.
I never would have known.
It's a big deal.
I'm not that involved in the
know.
children's book world,
Totally
but I
fine.
have.
Yeah.
I'm weary. No, maybe weary is not the right word.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about sharing. I've had this children's book idea for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
And it would be like the biggest Pixar film of all time.
And everybody does. And not that diminishes yours, but like that's something like that's people create and they have these little stories in their heads and I want to know what it is.
Yeah,
but.
I mean I've written a good amount of pages on it. I need to get back to it. I only work on it in the winter for some reason. That's like where the inspiration comes from. I'm worried about sharing it because I don't want someone to take my idea.
Oh, okay.
But I also want to tell you, like right now, I could be cryptic.
Yeah.
I could just do a blanket threat. If you take my idea, I'm going to find you. I'm going to find the VPN you downloaded this from. Not the VPN, but the IP address. And I know a guy.
He does.
Who's going to break your kneecaps in. It's not me.
Serious
it's not me.
world.
I just know someone. Yeah,
it's a big deal. Yeah,
I could see someone. I have told people this story.
Yeah,
especially people who like I have friends that live in LA and work in Hollywood, and they're like, "Don't tell anyone. This is a really good idea."
Wow.
I know.
I might need to record.
Maybe I'll tell you after.
Okay. Oh wow.
It's cool.
Hyping it up
because I'm thinking of like how to have an illustrator illustrate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it might be a longer book. I don't think it would be, 10, 20, 30 pages. It might be like a short novel.
That's awesome. See, that's
it's an adventure. It has a little bit of a Bug's Life type of adventure to it. Yeah.
Okay.
But way
Does it have
better
to do
of a
with
thing.
bugs?
Yeah. It has to do with some bugs.
I love bugs. I also have a story about bugs that I'm working on, but I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
What if it's the same story?
We'll tell each other after.
No, okay.
I won't steal your idea.
That's so funny.
I don't steal ideas.
I think bugs are so cool.
Me too. I have nothing but love for them. No fear.
Same. And I have very little knowledge of like the logistics of bugs. But I think that's okay.
How many worms move a foot under the dirt every day?
I don't know.
What are the logistics of these worms?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's another thing I talked about in my talk was just like pick something that you have no idea anything about and don't do any research on it and then make up a story about it.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of like make up your own rules. So
that's like all of the creative writing elements of children's worlds.
Exactly.
They don't follow like any laws of anything.
You think that, but
I would think it, but I guess maybe not.
There's this, I mean, it depends, and there's some really cool publishers out there, but it is a business. So this discourse about in children in the world, it's about weird ideas. It's what they're calling it, just like the concept of weird children's books, which tend to not always follow the formula of like, and they poke fun at there's like 17 grandma's garden books out like right now. Like it's just like there's like, I don't know.
How do they pick? Is it like movies and albums that make it? Is it just kind of what's pieced together and wrapped with a bow the best? And
it's becoming a little bit of a just a machine, and they all are a little bit similar. And not to discredit the artist or the authors, like I would do a grandma's garden book in a heartbeat if I got offered to.
But you don't have a green thumb.
Well, that's true, or a grandma. But sorry,
I don't either.
But I just so the weird children's books. I mean, I think of like Maurice Sendak is the king Where the Wild Things Are, and
You're right.
In the Night Kitchen, which is like totally like kind of psychological and just a little unsettling. And I think there's a lot of like, helicopter parenting going on right now.
I can't stand it.
yeah.
I'm going to be a plane helicopter, fly away and leave them. I don't understand it. They're not gonna die.
Well, it's yeah.
They'll be fine.
There needs to be more of a balance, I think.
When you were a kid, and
Yeah.
your parents, you were born in 91. Okay, I was born in 89. So when you were a kid in 1997, and you were 6, maybe almost, I was 7.
Yeah.
Turning 8.
Yeah.
When my mom and dad weren't around or like left me alone, and they did that a lot. It didn't do anything but made me feel more free in my own little children's book mind.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, now I can put my G.I. Joes in the plants and that could be the jungle and I won't get yelled at. But like, I'm not like
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't going to the kitchen and grabbing knives and like, I'm going to do something stupid. You're not
You
that
knew enough.
dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just explain stuff. They're not stupid. Like explain things to them. You don't go too extreme, but I think this overcorrection.
Yes.
Like this whole summer, I live in a heavily populated area. I didn't see that many kids doing anything outside ever. The whole summer. I was more of a kid this summer.
Yeah.
Running around the city and doing stuff outside all day. And I'm like, I walk to the park and walk around it every day and I only see adults. Yep. Where are the kids? Why aren't they
Where
playing?
are the children?
I want to see a kid climbing a tree. I want to see them jumping fences and running through backyards and getting yelled at. I want to see it. What happened?
Yeah,
Bring it back.
I know. I mean, that's a toughie because it's the state of the world in that sense is also crazy right now too. But I think there is and it's not just like activities. Like I think there's like a policing of what kids read, especially the book bans. That's a thing. It's actually National Book Ban Week, which is like
what does that mean?
Independent bookstores and libraries are like combating that. It's pretty badass.
But what? Why are they banning books?
Because
why would you ban a book?
I know.
All right, that's fine. If we're gonna ban books,
no.
Do I get to pick all the religious texts we should just ban? Like, what is so arbitrary? Who gets this?
Sorry. No.
Who picks and chooses
this? White men who are schmapublicans.
Thank God I'm half white and honorary Jewish man. Thank God.
Right. Well, and I should, it's not everywhere, but it's crazy the reasoning behind some of this stuff. I can't even think of an example. I think somewhere that they ban Goodnight Moon. Because
that's a kid's book, right?
Yeah. It's like
I'm
the simplest.
I feel like I remember this
good
book.
night chair, good night bed.
Why would you ban it?
I can't remember, but I think it's like stupid. It's stupid. It's a dumb reason, or there's like mention of, I don't know, maybe something like kids being alone or something. I don't know. Like people are very sensitive, and it's silly because kids can handle it. And more.
You know how they handle it is by letting them handle it. Like creating adversity is how humans, are we going to stop building skyscrapers and roads and institutions and museums because it's dangerous? Like how we got this far and made such a prolific impact on things because you learn from mistakes, but you don't just like erase them.
Well, and there's no evidence either. It's not like some kid read Goodnight Moon and then jumped off a bridge or whatever. Like it's strictly just I don't know what it is. I can't even begin to like be in the mindset of people like that. But it's
so you have
crazy.
to tiptoe around what you write and illustrate then?
That's what it feels like. I don't think it's gotten too bad. I think luckily the publishing world is fairly liberal. I mean, it's still a massive industry, but I think book people, I don't know, music people. I feel like media people tend to get it. It's more like people who consume it who live in Florida. I don't know. But, I mean, would you say like that? I always wonder like what movies do like hardcore Republicans watch? Like they're like the bad guys in the movies, and why do they? How do they like
I can give you an answer to that. Not that I am one.
Yeah.
But I grew up around a lot of that. I had a lot of religious family and older men, and just like everything, they cherry pick. They're watching Lethal Weapon 4 with Mel Gibson, where every guy gets shot and dies.
Yeah.
And they're watching another action movie where there's always a naked woman.
Sure.
Like, it's cherry picking.
Yeah.
And
we all do it. I know.
We all do it, but some people do it in ways where it's like, what? Where it's such a contradictory to their own faith, their own beliefs, their own ideologies.
Yeah.
I'm not really married to any religions or religious dogma or any ideologies that fall in that camp.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with being like, oh yeah, all right, guess you're right. That makes sense. Like, it's such a more easy way to live.
Yeah, for sure.
To be like, you can't do that, and then be like, okay, I'm going to do this.
I know.
And just be contradictory, because your kids see it.
Yeah.
It's the kids I always knew that smoked cigarettes young were the ones who had parents that did it and like, don't smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the kids are like, well, you're older and you're doing it and you're alive, and like, so clearly I can do it too.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You have to lead by example.
I know. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's like the media that you introduce to your kids is also, I mean, you select it. So like in some ways your children's books are being sold to the adults who buy the books, right? So it's a weird you know balance where you can't, you don't want to get too weird and like cause trauma. I don't know. I can't think of any books that have done that.
But yeah, they wouldn't let it. I wouldn't publish it if it was like that blatantly.
There's one of my favorite books is like from the 70s, and it's called The Rainbow Goblins.
Ooh, I like this.
And it's like really freaking weird. Like
sounds like Labyrinth-esque.
Surrealist, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
which, by the way, I loved that movie.
Me too.
It's a ridiculous movie.
It is.
Have you watched it recently?
Pretty recently, yeah.
Have you made sense of some of the inappropriate things that are said and done?
Just a little bit, and it's made me understand some things about myself. Yeah.
And I'm like, why they allow this as a kids movie?
I know. It was
By
different
far,
times.
The freakiest thing is when Jennifer Connelly's falling through the hand things.
They're all
making making
puppet.
faces with hands.
Oh yeah, so cool though, and it's all like literal puppet. I love puppets too. That's the other. I love that movie because of the puppets. But what was I saying? Yeah. So there's weird shit out there for sure. But
the weird is good.
I know, and that's kind of what the war is about.
Like weird is not bad. Like,
right.
Bad is bad.
Right.
Good is good, and weird is this gray place that allows your mind to like make up everything.
Yeah.
It is the most important thing in all of art is like the weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like music, film.
Yeah.
Every time a band came out that was considered weird, or an artist, or even a philosopher, even a film director,
for sure,
they ended up being the best, the geniuses, the people who changed the shape of it all.
Yeah.
And at first they were the weird people.
They're ostracized, yeah.
It's like they're not making bad movies. By bad, I mean like literally dangerous for society. Like bad movies, they're not making good, just perfect little,
Right.
I don't even know. I'm trying to think of like the most pure, straightforward movie. Just a G-rated Disney movie.
Yes.
Just like for like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you do this thing that can make a movie that can be fun for a 5-year-old all the way to an 85-year-old.
Yes.
I mean, that's a magical thing.
It is.
When you can do that.
It's I feel like it's being lost, and I think you mentioned Pixar earlier. There's like the Pixar formula now. It's like, what if this and this opposite thing had feelings, and then they connected? Yeah, it's just like it's very. There's no villains. That's another thing people talk about a lot. Is there's no villains in Disney movies anymore.
I wish they went back to the hand-drawn.
Oh, well,
cartoon.
that too. Oh, man.
That was so cool.
I know. I don't think
what was the last
ever
one?
will.
Princess Frog?
Yeah.
That was the last one?
Yeah.
2004, 3? 2?
think later.
5?
It
8?
might have been 10-ish.
10?
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Thought it was earlier. I don't know.
But then they like fired all the 2D people, so they don't even have a department anymore. It's
that's
stupid.
such a bad idea.
I agree.
I think a great world,
Yeah.
just like Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they brought in animation,
Yes.
hand-drawn, and live action, is they could make this trifecta of live action, hand-drawn,
That'd
and
be
CGI
really
animation.
cool.
Why
Yeah.
not? Why not go to different dimensions with
it's
it? Because it's
hard
'cause it's cool.
and they, yeah. And
hard. They have
a,
billions. They could pay.
Well, I
They could
know.
afford to do it.
But it's like the same. I mean, it sells. That's the other thing is like, because there's not other options. So people looking to take their kid to a movie are going to go to this stupid, straightforward, whatever. But I think options are important. I'm not saying like take away, some of the standards or the maybe more like lessons or like don't talk to strangers because that's important. I'm not saying let your kids talk to strangers. But, it's, I think giving them choice and trusting them a little bit too to like, maybe they navigate or, are interested in something that maybe you wouldn't necessarily pick for them. But so a lot of my stories and ideas are a little like, maybe not, I don't want to say unconventional, but like not as grandma's garden focused.
There's some
sorry,
villains.
grandma.
There's some villains in there.
Yeah, or just some like unexplained like weirdness. And I like books where kids have like agency and aren't necessarily surrounded by adults all the time. Like very classic like Alice in Wonderland example. She has this adventure and by herself, like where her parents, it's a little
She
like there's
stumbles across some
there's
mushrooms.
darkness.
We all know that. Come on.
We
now.
don't know. There's darkness behind some of that stuff.
That movie is dark.
Yeah.
The live action and any of the live actions. There's been a lot of renditions and the cartoon animation.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird.
It's so weird. I love it though.
Yeah, and I think that's right. Like it resonates, and it's a classic for a reason, and it's inspired so many like, other things like it. But I don't know. I feel like things are drifting to the safe zone.
I never thought about it, but it makes sense because I'm not a child anymore. I don't have a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't buy children's books, so I never really thought about it. But I guess everything's kind of getting nerfed, padded.
That's right.
Like everything.
Right. I'm sure.
I don't think it's a good thing. I think some rules, regulations, protections are always important.
Yes.
But like at the places they need to be. And everything that happens within that should be allowed.
Yeah.
I agree. It's what gives you different experiences. It's what makes that person shows like, oh, have you read this thing or seen this movie?
Yeah.
It's such and such. It's inspiring. It's weird. It's different. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
They're doing that. The only place that happens is in the mature adult sector. Like with films, the film company A24.
Of course.
Has been making really unique movies for like the last decade.
Which is like but fairly newer like recognition from people, I feel like, are just now.
Only for adults.
Yeah,
They're all rated R crazy movies,
You're right, yeah.
But in the PG world, like kids, I haven't seen the last Pixar. I think the last one I saw was Soul. Have you seen Soul?
I did. I actually haven't, but that is interesting conceptually. I don't know. Was it good?
I enjoyed Soul.
Okay.
I enjoyed, but I also love music.
Yeah.
I related to it a lot.
I think that's cool. That was a cool one.
Soul was a cool one. I think there was Onward.
Yeah.
And
I didn't see that.
There was another one. I think there was a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Onward. And then what was the most recent one?
It's about elements, like fire element.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
No. And I like Pixar. Toy Story is like one of my like favorite movies of all time and hugely influential. But I think it's got a little bit stale just with that like formula. But I'm sure they're better than some movies. But yeah, there's not a lot of. I mean, there's Leica Studios who does like the stop motion.
A friend of mine, or a person I know, did stop motion there, works there, and did it for the most recent Pinocchio. Like I remember watching it and seeing her name on the credits. And
man,
they won an Oscar, so I don't know if she probably gets a certificate from that, an Oscar or an Academy Award.
Yeah, I think
which is awesome.
That was not Leica, I don't think, but similar. Yeah, I mean,
wasn't
that's like Guillermo his own.
I thought maybe he hired
maybe
people from there.
Yes, that makes sense.
That might be it because I know she worked
similar
there.
vibes for sure.
Is that what did Coraline?
Yeah,
that movie's amazing.
Oh man, I love Coraline. I love Coraline so much. Yeah. So those are different.
Okay.
But sometimes they don't do as well because they're not. It's hard. It's harder to market weird, I think, to families.
If I have kids, they're watching the weird stuff.
I agree.
We're going back. I'm showing them everything.
I know.
They're going to be like, I'm going to get yelled at. Parents will be like, what are you showing them at the sleepover? I'm like, I don't care.
You're going to be that dad, yeah.
I can't say assuming because nowadays they're like, I am going to. Like, oh, no. Used to be be able to say that like, F you, like, sue me. Now people will do it.
You got to be careful. Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's like a resurgence now, like millennials being parents and like showing them what they, were into. So hopefully there were
so many weird movies.
There's so many weird movies.
Willow, what a weird movie.
Oh my God, I love Willow.
But it's a strange movie.
Very strange. But you
remember
pretty much
like the 80s to like mid 90s, the weirdest movies.
Man,
I'm trying to think of some other really weird ones.
Did you see The Last Unicorn? Do you remember that?
That sounds familiar.
Oh my gosh. With
The Last Unicorn.
Songs by America.
Yeah.
It was very 80s. And very weird.
I really liked, you strike me as someone who also liked this, The Page Master.
Oh my God.
I loved that movie.
You don't even know. No, I am so serious. I hate to keep saying this, but in my talk, I talked about The Page Master because that is like the movie I return to that like keeps me grounded. So good, but so weird.
Oh,
and
really
I think
weird.
It flopped. I don't think it did well.
Yeah, I don't remember. I saw it in theaters. I remember watching it like in 96 when it came out, 95, 96. I loved it.
I have it on VHS. I stole it from Blockbuster.
I used to work at Blockbuster.
Oh, shoot.
How dare you?
I'm out of here.
They don't exist anymore, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's I love that movie. I also had it on VHS.
That's huge one.
Page Master. Yeah. Did you ever see Milo and Otis? That's
another
like weird. Yeah. It's along the lines of Homeward Bound.
Oh my God.
But but the best part about the movie, which is the worst part about the movie, is do you know how many animals they killed on that movie?
I know, which is
you
why
heard about the cat thing throwing it off the water.
I know. It's like a weird urban legend.
You have to
thing.
laugh.
I know, but I
it's ridiculous. Like who okayed that? Like
for real.
All right, just keep throwing the animal off. It's fine.
We don't need to return to that. Yeah.
Obviously, we do stuff like that more humane now. But I'm saying the weird, wacky, quirky concepts.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I have a theory why we had such an abundance of that.
Yep.
And I'd say like
is it drugs?
Yeah. I'd say it's like it has to do with
Oh, okay, sorry.
Inspired by. I'd say like 84 or like I'll call it 85 to 95. It ends with Toy Story. Pixar 95. 85 to 95 for those who don't know. If you're we're too young or too old, check out just type in Google like weird kid movies from 85 to 95 and you will understand watch them and you'll be like I know what he's talking about. Think about who was making them. Say that the writers and designers and production designers, illustrators were our age.
Right.
Which means if it's 85, we'll say they're like 35.
Sure.
They're born 1950. What were they doing in the late 60s?
That's the time.
LSD.
Yeah.
Mushrooms.
For
smoking weed. So they have all these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Then they get older and they have kids and they're like, how do I like...
Yeah.
And there's way less rules and restrictions from society and parents and the news and social media. So they're like, just having at it and coming up with weird worlds, taking Alice in Wonderland and building upon it.
Yeah.
Wacky movies.
Yeah.
Weird movies,
dark,
cool movies.
Like all the Never-Ending Story
oh my God,
and the
so dark and
Dark
so
Crystal.
Freaky.
Really, I know. Which is
when Atreyu dies?
Oh man, no.
Don't
we don't go there, yeah.
They're really dark movies.
Yeah.
That water thing when he's like
Yeah.
riding out, oh my, they're freaky.
Oh man,
I
know.
used to get chills watching them, but but guess what? It didn't scare us. We just kept watching them anyway.
That's the weird sweet spot. It's like, it's a little like, oh, what is it? I don't understand it, but I'm like interested in it. And I think creative people especially, that like sticks with them. And I think if you take too much of that away and it's like all, I don't know what kids watch now.
I mean,
Caillou. No, they don't. I don't know.
I have a niece and she just.
I mean, Bluey's cool. I like Bluey.
Bluey?
You
What's
know
Bluey?
about Bluey?
Bluey?
I think it's like it's Australian, I don't know, kid show, but
okay.
it's good.
I'm not too hip on them.
No,
I just will
fair.
go on like Disney and put on like a Disney movie.
Right.
And it does, she's only 2.
Yeah.
So it's like I get 15 minutes and she's on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But do you remember the Indian in the Cupboard?
Yeah.
That movie was wild.
That cannot be made now, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Very weird. Very strange.
But such all those movies, like goofy, wild ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember the Kid and King Arthur's Court?
Oh, yeah. There was
Remember
a few of those, I feel like.
Yeah.
There was like a
there was a
series.
couple.
Yeah.
Just unique, weird concepts. And I just think it was people having, you know, acid flashbacks. Like, hey, let's do some crazy
Well,
stuff.
for sure. Yeah, that doesn't hurt. Yeah.
I also think it was at a time when technology and film and the budget finally got to a acceptable
That's so
place where they
true.
could do these things and take these
Yeah.
risks. And then if they don't make too much money in the box office, they have home video
It's not
to
a-
make
yeah.
the money back. That's actually the theory as to why the
That's-
movies now, they're either massive superheroes
Yeah.
or Disney
Yeah.
or Avatar or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
or it's just something that's straight on Netflix because there's no more home video. And people would make. You can get that $15 million like smaller independent film and take the risk on it
But it's
because you
not.
might make $5 million in box office,
Right.
but you'll make it all in all the movie rentals and
Right.
in the movie purchases.
yeah.
Because when we were kids, you go to someone's house.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, there's no streaming, so everyone has their VHS collection or their
Yeah.
DVD collection.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's because people don't buy media anymore for
That
film,
makes sense.
and so they can't take the risks anymore. Because if you ever go down Wikipedia wormholes of movies of that era, you look at their box office, you'll notice
my
like they don't
gosh.
really make a lot. They might have like lost money, yet they're like really popular movies.
Yeah.
It's because of home video.
Yeah.
You're able to just keep, and you can create cult classics out of that.
Oh,
You know,
there's so many. Do you like Hook? Did
Oh
you
my
like,
God, I loved Hook.
That one didn't it like bomb at the
that movie's so
That's
trippy.
insane.
It's so weird.
Oh, I
I
love
watched
it.
it recently, and I was like, "This is a wild
That's
movie."
a top. Yeah. I know. It's I wonder too, like you said, technology, like now there's so many ideas out there and so much like just info like being blasted into your brain that's like you can't kind of make stuff in a vacuum as much anymore.
Yeah.
And so you're like always like, I don't know, doubting and double checking and I don't know. It's social media is terrible, but
Yeah, what are your thoughts on it as an artist?
yeah, it's the old ball and chain. I don't know. I
Does it help or hurt?
For sure.
If you were to weigh it, does it
Yeah.
help or hurt you more? Like what percentage? And it could be hurt as far as even just
Yeah.
emotional or psychological.
oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Definitely. I mean, probably for me personally, I think more towards the pain and misery side.
Really?
I think it's detrimental to my process. I think one of the things when I was in Maine, there was no Wi-Fi.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Which
So this
was
explains
cool.
why you love Portland, Maine so much.
Yeah.
And guess what? You know how I know
I
that?
know.
Remember I told you my favorite city?
Yeah.
Guess who had no service in Mexico City the whole time? I was there for 9 days with no
That's
service.
So yeah.
So I was
Different
able to have Wi-Fi
experience.
only at the Airbnb, but we were never there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
slept there, showered,
Oh, yeah.
went out all day. So
Yeah.
when I was out all day, zero
You're truly
connection.
right.
And so I was just there. I was just sitting there looking at everything,
I
talking to
know.
everyone,
It makes you
eating, meeting people.
I know.
And I was in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I only had Wi-Fi at the house. And by the time I got home, I just like responded to like texts I had to, like
Yeah.
let my mom know I'm alive, things like that.
yeah.
And I just was uninterested.
Yeah.
'Cause, like when you go 16 hours without it, you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
I know you adapt, and it's
You do, quickly.
magical, right? I know, which is something I could do on my own, but it's hard. It's hard, and I mean, so much of what I do is visual, so you need to like put that out there
Instagram's
somehow.
your bread and butter.
For sure. And it's
TikTok as well?
God, I am not good at that stuff. I don't.
The concern in your
I know,
face.
because it's what people are doing now.
Yeah, it is.
In video in general, which is cool, and I consume it, but it's not instinctual for me to like, I don't know, film while I don't know. It's such a private thing that it's like.
You have to get like the phone holder above it
Yeah,
with the special
it feels
light or the light thing
awkward.
where it sits in the center.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
I just am not interested in that personally, but
You sound like a involved, like tried and true artist who it's just about the process. And then you have to find a way to somehow show the world it, right?
Yeah, and I think Instagram is good for that, and it was. I think it's changed a lot.
I hate you, Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh
me
my
too,
God!
man.
Don't even get me started.
Algorithm.
They made it
Yeah.
to where only certain things can get a lot of engagement, and that's a small window, by the way.
Yeah.
Or you have to pay for it.
I know.
I would get
refuse.
so much more engagement when I had way less anything, way less connections, way less portfolio, way less followers.
Yeah.
And now that I have more, and I've done way more, and more years have gone on, way more people know about what I do, I have a way less. And I'm like, what is it? This makes no sense.
It is
ridiculous.
nonsense. I know, and there's some like rules to it, like times of day to post.
Yeah, and I followed those, and at first it worked. And guess what? It doesn't work anymore.
Okay,
I think they caught on to me.
Just
and even when you pay, say you pay like $10 to boost a post.
Oh,
the more you do that,
yeah.
the amount it reaches, it goes down and down and down. So say it's, I'll give our arbitrary numbers, but say it's, I paid $10 to boost this post for 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be the people on Instagram that are, it follows, it tracks who would see it. And it normally would say 1,000 to 1,700 people.
Oh, yeah.
And then you do it again. It still says that, but then like the third time you do it, then it says 900 to 1,600.
That's lame.
On the fourth time, 800, and it drops to spend more and more. It is so nefarious.
That's so sneaky. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think it should be. There should be an algorithm. Like should just be.
Well, it used to be
chronological.
Yeah,
right?
chronological. What every post posts, and it just shows up in everyone's feeds, and that's all it was.
I know.
And then they got
it's
greedy.
It's a whole thing. It's like, yeah. So I try to adhere to that because I don't know what else to do. and I will say for all that, it has gotten me jobs.
Of course, me as well.
Right.
I mean, it's how I was able to communicate with you.
That's right. Exactly.
You know?
So
it has massive pros.
Yes, but I think it could be better. I don't know. There's nothing like live art experiences. I'm sure you agree.
Absolutely.
So I wish there was a better way to do that. As like I've done like some gallery stuff, but it doesn't always. It's kind of. I find that when I've been a part of shows, it's like me and like 100 other people.
Yeah.
And I think it's different with like music, but when you're like you have one little piece in a sea of it's
you just
different.
be overlooked so quickly.
Right.
Music's loud. It's hard to ignore when one band's playing in your face.
Yeah.
Even at a fest with 40 bands, when the band's playing, that's like the only thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I knew you before because I had 40 artists sell artwork too, and that was so cool, and it was a lot of fun.
See, that is a way to do it. I'm not savvy at that. I've tried doing art fairs and stuff. I find I get very overwhelmed by like, do I have enough stuff? Like, I don't know.
You're not the first person to tell me that.
I'm
the last
sure.
guest I had actually made that last poster, and she made this image too. And she sold at the fest and also said exactly that. Like, I never know what to do. Is it how you slowly learn? It's a skill.
It is.
Where do you learn what pieces sell better? So you put those prints there.
Yeah.
Heights,
you have to
angles.
do it a lot.
You have to do it a lot.
Yeah.
And you get better at it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who like travel.
That's
I
all
knew
they do.
people, yeah, they like lived in a van and then they would just
She
go
said the same
from,
thing. Like
oh,
they
okay.
travel around the country just doing
Which
fairs.
is so cool. Like I totally would try that, but it can't do that.
It's a whole nother way.
Yeah.
That's like the music industry version of touring
Yeah,
bands.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it's a whole nother life touring
I know.
band.
I know. But
And I admire it. I could do it. Like I have the constitution to do it. I'm a big camper and road tripper.
see, yeah.
I just, as far as that as my job, I don't really want to do it. The bands I'm in, the music I play is it's the only place
Yeah.
that I do creatively that is just fun.
Yeah.
It's not about money. It's not about. It's not a job.
That's
It's
so
not
important.
connections. It's just, hey, let's just make a song. You know.
See, that's really cool that
It's
you
great.
have that. I think it's good to be like multifaceted, like have those separations.
When it all becomes a job, which it's right now, my whole life's like 99% jobs, which
Yeah.
is fine because they're fun. But man,
Yeah.
when it becomes
It doesn't
only
matter.
that, it gets a little
I know.
weird.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Yeah,
where
I bet.
everything is art, and people are like, "But you get to be an artist. Like that's so cool." But it's not. I get it. That's where my cynicism, to circle back, comes in. Is it's like it's still energy, and especially like creative energy. It's like
It's exhausting. It's an exhausting thing, and it sounds. I know it sounds like what was my life, right? It sounds
Yeah.
like world's smallest
Yeah.
violin.
I know.
But until you do it, which I
know.
get, I relate
Yeah.
in my own way. It's hard to explain until you
Yeah.
do it, and you do like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours,
Every
3,
day.
4, 5, 6, 7 days,
Yeah.
8 years in a row.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm
To get
fried.
100 likes on Instagram, it's like
Oh my goodness.
it's heartbreaking, is what it is. It is very. it's a grief. I'm such a downer, but that's the other side of this world.
But you don't do it for the gram.
I know, but I do for the. Well, you're right. I don't, and it's hard. It's hard to find the right level of balance. Like, I need money, like.
Yeah.
So it's.
Is it mostly commissioned work?
I do get some. Lately, yeah, I don't know. Lately, it's been pretty quiet. But
I blame that on the pandemic.
yes,
Same here.
I think for sure. I think that definitely affected.
It totally affected
Yeah.
all things
I can't-
creative
I'm
because people
sure.
used to have extra money
Yeah,
to buy stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's a good
people lost
point.
a lot of it because the industries have changed.
that's a good point.
The people who like to consume and buy art tend to be a lot of creatives and artists.
Yes.
They also tended to be a bartender,
Yeah.
restaurants, music venues.
Yeah.
And what was hit the worst? Those places.
100%. Yeah.
I would, right now, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
I would be booked out for months
Wow.
with sessions, like multiple a week.
Wow. Yeah.
Touring bands, people staying the night all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, where is everybody? Like,
Yeah.
I've been doing this longer.
Yeah.
This has gotten more popular. What?
I know.
The math doesn't add up. And it's because they don't have the money to do
Yeah.
it. They don't have the money
Yeah.
to promote themselves. They don't have the money to tour. Some do, but not as much as before.
For sure. I know.
And it sucks. And I'm sure it affects film industries. It affects
Yeah.
all different types of art.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. But it's hard. Yeah, you have no control over that. Like you can't. It's not like with a corporate job. If you're unhappy, you can just go somewhere else. Like I can't make people come to me. I
Yeah.
can't make jobs up. So a lot of what I'm doing now is preparing like my portfolio and manuscripts for agents, which is a whole. I don't know if I don't know how that works in the music. I'm sure.
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I just do everything myself and
Yeah.
created my own thing. I don't
You don't need.
talk to anyone or I don't ask for any permission, which is bittersweet. It's all on my shoulders, but it's also like I
get it.
I cannot imagine having to deal with
Yeah.
A&R people
Yeah.
and agents. I'm like, oh, God, snooze.
Yeah. It's possible to not, for sure. I know a lot of artists who just do it all themselves and have the business
Yeah.
savvy to negotiate. And I don't know. I don't have that, and I'm not a hustler.
You think it's just like your demeanor, like your type of
I think so, and
personality?
I find, like, especially when it comes to money, like negotiating is really uncomfortable for me. I mean, I don't think it is, I don't know, that comfortable for anyone, but
It can be uncomfortable.
yeah, and
it can be weird.
And I find that I have this like complex where I'm just like, I don't have, I haven't made it yet, so I don't really deserve more money. Like
Yeah.
it's like a weird, I don't know, you that kind of self-deprecation where you're like, well, I don't know, I'm an artist.
Have people said stuff to you about it? Have they like have people like not gotten mad at you, been like, hey, you need to like be more stern
Oh
and
my
like
God,
ask for
yeah.
money?
I mean, sometimes yes, and people, my my partner has noticed how I introduce myself and how I talk about art, and he's sort of like, you need to be like more proud, like, and everyone does that to an extent where you don't necessarily see all the things you have, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's also about connections too, and I think if you find an agent in the art world who has that already, then it's a little bit easier. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think that would just be better for me.
It makes more sense in your specific field.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
every field's
music,
different.
Yeah.
Music it's a more social, digestible art form.
Is it like be like a record label? Like you sign with the record label and then the opportunities.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing
right.
with a record label. I guess I'm my own agent because everything they provide, that's what I provide for myself. Like the connections that I have those. Like,
yes.
I've just been doing it forever.
Well, right.
And like when you do many different things, like from a show to an event to working at venues to working weddings to birthday parties. Like I've said yes to every single thing ever, which has been brutal. But because of that, it's like when someone's like, "Hey, I need a hookup," like I know a guy for that. I could.
That's awesome.
This.
Yeah.
So I guess I took on the agent or manager role for my own self. But it's easier in my field to do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the music industry is just a lot more social.
Yeah, way
by
more.
nature, whereas like
naturally.
I'm just like hunched in my little dark corner, and like, online is sort of the one way I have.
And you can do like art galleries, but it's a different. That's a different kind of social.
Exactly.
Thing.
Yeah. So
it's a different
hard.
place when you go to the fine art gallery world.
It is. Oh man.
It's a different world from the dive bar or the DIY venue.
Yeah. Yeah.
You seem like you have some thoughts on that.
I've known some fine artists in my time. I'll just say that. And again, it's one of those things like I wish that I had done more of that, but there is like a weird. Oh, I don't want to hate on anyone, but just like
you don't have to say names. You can hate though.
Performative nature of fine art. That's like, look at me. Oh, I would get in trouble if I said. But anyway.
Wait, look at me what? Who's going to get you in trouble? Who's going to reprimand you? We're adults.
I know. I mean, there were people.
Freedom of speech here. Come on,
right. No, there were people at my school who would just like.
Oh, they're in Columbus. Say whatever you need. Or are you talking about Evanston or Columbus?
No, Columbus. This one guy like just would wear a cape everywhere, and that was like the art. And I don't know.
I love it.
One guy,
Hannah, you don't even have to try to convince me. I went to the School of the Arts.
I know, so you know what I'm talking about exactly.
Holy
and it was just like,
cow.
I don't know. Yeah.
Some of the students I went with were amazing, but a lot of them were amazing at their craft, but everything else was lacking, and that is going to translate eventually. You can only hold on to that type of way of living for so long before your character crumbles.
Yeah.
When we're 28 years old or 26 years old, and I'm working all summer on this stuff, this, but they're just like going through the south of France the whole summer, and they don't work. And I'm like, what?
It's I don't know who that benefits, I guess is what I want to say. But maybe it doesn't need to. I don't know.
It's a certain world.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying they're bad people.
No, they're not.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I envy it a little bit.
I do and I don't.
No.
I don't. Just like the nerfing of For the World for Kids, that is going to come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
You can only have Mr. Daddy Warbucks money for so long before it's like you have to figure something out on yourself.
Ethic. Yeah.
Yeah, you need the work ethic.
No, I agree. I do. Yeah.
If you can work, go to school, have a social life, possibly even relationships, and make your art, now you're starting to get into my respectable
That's
camp.
the dream. That's all I want.
But
Yeah.
some people just like, I just go to school or I just do art. Like, that's it. I'm like, what? Where's the struggle?
No, I think
Give
you
me some
gotta put in your
struggle. Come on now.
dues. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. And not that I've, struggled that much, Evanston girl. But I don't know. I think,
I love it.
yeah, I mean, everyone has stuff. So
I love how much further your head went off axis.
I
It's just
know.
like,
Evanston. Yeah.
do you get a lot of looks when you say Evanston, depending on where you
Well,
are? I know you do.
I'm naughty because I will say I'm from Chicago. And then if anybody, it happened to me recently.
Okay.
Yeah, like said, and it was in Maine. And someone asked me where I was, and he was like, "Oh, I'm from Chicago." And I was like, "Oh,
yes.
Right, yeah, I can't." Evanston.
And what did he say? He was
And they're like, "Oh, okay, I've been there." Like they're nice, and everyone's nice about it, but you can tell they're judging me for saying it.
See, it depends on the person. Because not to sound rude,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say it.
No.
Some people suck at geography and directions, and they don't even know where that is.
and that's me.
And-
but yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're fine.
I'm not that. I'm like obsessed with it.
Okay, no.
I think it's really important for understanding the human existence.
Okay. Oh shit.
You're like, oh no,
I'm
I gotta
scum.
go.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
know.
talking countries and
Okay.
regions. I mean, all the way
Yeah.
to your neighborhoods. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
understand, you
yes,
can
yes,
have a
yes.
better way of interfacing with society.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really beneficial when I have students. I'm going to treat a student differently who is from North Lawndale or Inglewood than one that's from Evanston. I have to. They didn't have what you had. There's
Right.
no way you can if you grew up in those situations.
Right.
So it's like important to know what they are and what it means to be from those
For
areas.
sure.
Not to
For
judge.
sure.
I don't pass
No,
judgment.
no.
I'll giggle about it. And obviously, the higher up you go,
No, you can hate on Evan. It's okay.
I can hate on it. It's a nice place. It's where Northwestern University
yeah.
is. If you don't know what that is, look it
No.
up. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it doesn't. It's no one's fault where they're from.
Right,
It's
of
what you
course.
do with it.
Right.
You know, I have other people I know that are from good situations, very wealthy situations. I don't. If they're dicks, yeah, I might be mad at them.
Yeah.
But if they're nice people and
Yeah.
they're aware of it and they get it, you're not
It's
naive.
all, yeah, right.
Then I'm not mad at you. Like,
Right.
I'm mad because you were born somewhere else. Like, that's dumb.
That would be,
I'm just
yeah.
as bad then as
Exactly.
the person. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah.
I more have the disdain when you are from that and you
Yeah.
just are completely ignorant of it and you like won't admit to like what
That
you
it's
have.
not,
and you're just
yeah,
like, no,
level, yeah,
I
yeah.
still struggle. It's like, no, you don't.
No, right. Oh,
You
God.
don't.
100%. I know. Yeah, I would never, ever.
That's so funny that
Yeah.
you had like when people ask me
No.
because I'm here now, but I used to not be from Chicago.
Right.
So if I'm far enough away, like if I was in your situation, I also would have said Chicago.
It's a convenience thing. Yeah.
Hickory Hills, what?
Yeah, because in
Chicago.
Right. I want to talk to people as less as I can.
Yeah. I usually will say a southwest suburb just outside the city of Chicago. That's what I'll say.
You're a good person, yeah. Yeah.
If I'm in a different country, I'm like, I'm from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Like in Mexico, he's
Yeah.
like, I'm from Chicago.
I
I'm like,
know.
oh, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, when you're from here and you do bump into someone, that's funny.
It
and
gets
you're
me
like,
in trouble because
Why?
I'm definitely not a city girl, a city mouse. I wouldn't say that I'm like a suburb person, but I'm more my cabin in the woods. That's where I want to be. But
That's your dream.
That's the dream. Yes.
Well, if you need someone to build, you guys
Well,
want.
maybe. But hey,
I work
I'll hit you up.
for food and bourbon.
Okay. But it'll get, they'll be like, what's your favorite I don't know any restaurants. I don't know any bars in Chicago. Andersonville, kind of. I don't
There's
even
a
know if
good,
stuff's still
what is it?
there.
Kalo, Italian
Oh,
in
I do know that.
Andersonville on
That is a
Clark?
good one. Yes. Yes. I'm familiar with that.
I could send you a long list.
So, like, you could. I know, but am I going to do it? I don't know. That's the thing.
So wait, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You don't care about the restaurants. You're not going to go. You don't have a green thumb, so you're not going to do your garden. So are you going to starve to death in this cabin?
Yeah, that's in process.
Do you like to hunt? Is this something I don't know? I doubt
the
it.
wilds of Skokie.
So how do you get your food in this cabin?
Okay. Oh, in my cabin. You know,
just drive to the local grocery store.
But you bring up a good point. And that in Maine, when I was on the island, like people have to ferry and get stuff.
It must be expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive. Because you're spending like if you go every day or every other day, it's like $10 a ride. So
what's the population on Peaks Island?
That's a great question.
They must have a low crime rate.
Extremely. I had no locks on the doors. Everything was open.
Well, it's like everyone knows everyone. You're on an island. Like, have fun.
Which is crazy,
not getting caught.
Right? Which is weird because a lot of like Stephen King is from Maine, and so all these like thrillers
he writes some wild books.
Yeah, right. So I'll talk about drug influence, but So I like to I cook. I mean, I'm an okay cook. So I would you'd have to get used to. No Grubhub on the island. But I would go and just like stock up. And it was like a fun kind of challenge. Like it felt like a puzzle. Like, this is what I'm going to do this night.
What, 20, 30-minute ferry?
Right. Not bad. Yeah. So I liked that aspect. It gave me purpose. Whereas here, it's so easy to just like, there's a Target down the street.
Mm-hmm. It's unbelievably easy to get food.
I know.
In Chicago or Chicagoland. It's
like,
anything.
Oh man, my mom will order ice cream sometimes. Like that's ridiculous. That's the
Does
peak
it come
of
gooey when it
I know, right? Sorry, Mom. I mean, if I had unlimited funds, I guess I would. But
I don't get anything delivered.
Yeah.
Nah,
I'm with you. Yeah.
I just drive right down the store and get it all. I don't know.
No, I think that's. I mean, it's expensive.
I like it. I like going to the store with my earbuds
That's what
in,
I
listen to
mean.
music. I'm like, I'm going to try that.
That's what I
Got
mean,
my routine. I see some people.
Right?
I don't know. It's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
I also go with
agree.
grandma time because of working from home at certain days.
Yes.
You know grandma time.
Maybe.
You run errands between like 10 and like 1 p.m. when no one's there because everyone's at work.
Love it.
I say it because it's when the grandmas are there.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's grandma time.
I gotcha.
Much better before the pandemic. It's got because now a lot of people work from home or they have half days and stuff.
No, I won't go to a grocery store on the weekend. Are you kidding me?
Never. I don't even know what they are on the weekends. They're dead to me on the weekends.
That's horrible.
But pre-pandemic, when I worked from home, you go on like a Wednesday or a Tuesday to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or something. You're like you're the youngest person there. And there's like 5 grandmas and like that, and like a couple mom yoga pants ladies, you'll get that.
They're fine. Yeah.
The husbands are like, I get it. That's it. That's all you get.
I know.
And you're like, this is great.
But you have to go like before like 3 when they pick up their kids.
Oh, way before 3. I'm talking like 10:30.
Yeah. Okay.
10:30 is perfect. That's the time to go.
That's even worse when they bring all the kids. Yeah. That's
but the pandemic, that's the thing that upsets me the most. I'm kidding, but is they took that time from me. Because that used to be my time. I was always
you were grandma
I was
boy.
one of the only men there, and I was always the youngest. And they'd always look at me like, what are you? I was dressed all artsy and stuff. Like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I do what I want. That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, going in the evening or in the weekend.
No, man.
It's crazy.
It's
a different beast.
I don't think I've done it in years. Yeah.
Yeah, you get it. So you'll run errands midday, right? Mm-hmm. It's so much better.
And I like having an errand to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my cabin, I would.
How big is this cabin? I gotta know so I can design it and build it for you. So how big are we talking?
So my dream situation would be nothing crazy, like 2-bedroom cabin.
Can I tell you what I think your dream situation?
Okay, go.
You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you know.
It's gonna be. I'll stick with a traditional square.
Okay.
Just to keep it simple.
I'm happy with that.
We can go crazy with it. You
I like squares.
Octagon, hexagon,
Yeah.
pentagon. But we'll stick with square. And no basement. Just to keep it simple.
Don't need. Yeah.
A porch.
Yeah, be nice.
Wraparound porch? Or just front porch?
Front porch is fine.
Front porch.
Not necessary, yeah.
Back stoop, front porch. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Kitchen, a living room space, a bathroom, and then like a kind of like a free space. It could be kind of like get double as a living room space or whatever, a pool table, a theater, home table, whatever you want. But like an extra. These aren't that big. We're talking 10 by 10 feet.
No, I know. Yeah, perfect.
So 10 by 10 feet, 12 by 12 feet. We'll call it 12 by 12. 24 by 24 feet is the length of this. It's 3 sheets of 8 by 4 plywood. Okay,
done. I'm there.
There. And then a staircase that goes up. That could be
man.
kind of living in the free space so it doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
It goes up. And upstairs, you have the 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
And then like an open another like free space that's kind of in the space where the staircase is, but it has windows in it.
Oh, yes.
It could just be like
That's
a little,
must.
you could have a little couch or just nothing, just open area.
Little landing, yeah.
The 3 bedrooms, one is your bedroom, other one's an office or your studio. Another one's a spare bedroom when you have friends or family visit.
Almost.
Each one of these are, that's close, right?
So, I'm totally with that. That sounds great. I'll take it as is. I would love to have a studio separate, like in the back. I'm talking like a shed. I don't need anything crazy.
A shed, like,
with
100 feet
skylight.
behind?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just some separation where I can be like, this is my mess zone.
That's
this
you.
is where, yes, because
We can do that.
it's so hard. Again, I'm very lucky to have a space at all, but it's tough when you don't have that, separation between what you do all day and, your bed is right there and your cat is there and everyone, so that's what I want, but I would want like all windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone makes
Almost like
fun
a
of me.
greenhouse.
Yeah, I'm a very light is very important, of course, as an artist. I
Absolutely.
I'm not an overhead light person. Do not need some ambiance.
It's either, if it's night, it's lamps.
Yeah.
As you saw in my upstairs living room, only lamps.
Super cute.
When people turn on lights, I like look at them, I just run over and shut it off. Like, what do you?
It feels
That's
icky.
for when we're moving or there's an emergency. Like, that's it. There's no need for this.
Right.
I don't work
It's
down
alarming.
here anymore. Like, I used to work in the basement, and it's pitch black. Everything's blocked out.
Oh yeah.
I call this, I capture here. I do all my work upstairs, not the floor you're on, but the floor above that, because there's big L windows, and you can see the Sox Park. It is beautiful light coming in.
Unreal.
And I have another set of like speakers and gear up there, and that's where I do all my audio and video and podcast editing, emailing, grading, all of it's there.
Yeah.
Cannot function anymore without the light.
Yeah. Love a good window. Yeah.
You have to have a lot of it. Like, it's really good for your mental health.
I know. I agree. My partner, he works at home too, and he works in the basement, and he overhead lights in abundance. Does not care, does not need that stimulus. Like, it's so interesting that people can just do that. And I go down there, I'm like, ugh, my skin crawls.
I know. I'm not a fan either.
I can't do it. And I feel like a diva when I'm like, no, I need windows.
We'll build your shed with mostly windows. It'll be windows all around.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It'll be almost like a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Put some plants in there.
I would take
it. Or when you work, do you have a sound system like music going?
Yes.
We'll make sure you have a dope
yeah,
sound. So the acoustics can be decent in there. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not picky. It can be,
It's because you haven't been exposed.
That's true. I do just listen to things like from the back of my Mac computer, and it gets all muffled.
You're destroying my life.
I know, man. I know.
You don't even have like a Bluetooth speaker or anything?
No.
Give yourself a little
Sometimes
speaker.
when I'm in the zone, I'll have headphones in. And that's preferable, but
yeah.
Otherwise, no.
That's okay. I am in such a different world of audio that
I get
it's
it.
hard.
I get it.
Whenever I go to anyone's house, I'm always like, how can I help them get some speakers?
You should. We have a very, very small house, so it's tough to navigate that. But in our cabin, That'll be important.
So cabin, like within 100 feet, your small
Yeah.
studio area.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's it. I do not expect to be rich. I do
This
not
is
expect
everything you just said. It's like 30,000 for everything.
Yeah, really.
That's way less than what homes go for now.
I know. I know.
And
I
then
mean,
you got to find the plot of land. You're
Right.
going to spend more money on that than you will on the actual material.
that's a good point. And move everyone I know to that place with me.
Oh yeah,
That's the
a
thing. That's the hard. Yeah.
Aren't you jealous sometimes of those, orphans who have
I
nothing?
know.
You know,
A little
Like,
bit.
you could just go
No,
wherever and
I
you don't worry about
honestly,
anything.
I know. I wish.
I'm kidding, orphans.
I
That's
know.
messed up.
Oh God,
I'm kidding out there.
you're gonna get orphan hate. Yeah, I think that's. I always fancied myself like, oh, I'm gonna live abroad or I'm gonna move to Maine. Like those lofty thoughts. That's kind of what I expected from my life, and then I went to Ohio, and that felt even too far. And
It's hard.
it's hard.
When you have
It's
family, you have a
hard.
big family? Or?
No, but they all live
They're
here.
around, yeah.
So
Siblings?
I have a sister.
Okay. Older, younger?
She's younger.
Okay.
She's younger.
Yeah, so it's hard when you have siblings, and especially when the children thing happens. That's
I
when
know,
it's
right?
like now that
Think about
I
that.
have two a niece and a nephew. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, it's even harder to I want to see them grow up and do
I
stuff. It's
know.
fun. They're fun.
I
No
know.
responsibility. I'm the uncle. All
That's
the fun.
the best role, yeah.
It's so much fun. It's just like I go up, I show up, while them up, get them crazy, play games, and I get to leave. It's
That's
like, yes.
amazing. Is that your older siblings?
My older brother
Oh,
has,
brother. Okay.
and then I have an older sister than him.
Are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest.
Interesting.
Can you
I'm the
tell?
oldest. No, I don't know. I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in that? There's a little
funny.
bit of psychological, sociological things that can happen when you
Yeah.
have siblings in your. I definitely believe in the only child syndrome.
Oh, yeah. That's true. That's the exception. Yeah.
That's the most obvious one
Yeah.
because they never learned or needed to learn how to share or
Right.
deal with stuff or split things or understand how to split time. Like none of it. And fortunate for me, I've had so many roommates that were only children, and man, I got to see it. They were way more difficult
It's,
to deal with.
wild.
Not bad people, just more difficult to deal with
Yeah.
than the roommates I've had that have had multiple siblings. And more importantly, the roommates I've had that have had a brother and a sister sibling just like me. We get it.
That's so interesting.
You line up because you get, I think having a brother and a sister really changes your dynamic
see
with
that.
people,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
time, with respect. I mean, even with how you look at a home and the things you
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. There's
You're-
something
yeah.
to it. I don't. It's
It's
probably
like
not super accurate. But there's,
horoscopes or your sign. It's
oh yeah, are you into
kind
that?
of passively, but like in the same way where it's like, oh God, no. But it's like you can pretend that there's something to it if you want to, but it's not science.
No, yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, what's your sign?
Ooh, can you guess?
Yeah, because this is science. I can figure it out. I can quantify this. There's empirical data.
There are, well, okay, I won't say anything.
Okay, well, I
I don't
know
even
that you were
know.
born in 91. Mm-hmm. And you graduated 2010, which means you were born between September 1st and December 31st.
Look at Sherlock
wrong.
Holmes.
Tell me I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
no, you're right.
Okay. And you're 31 now,
Yeah.
which means you haven't turned 32 yet, and it's October.
Whoa,
so now we're
whoa.
getting to where it's
I'm
between October 3rd and December 31st.
He's got me.
I'm not bad at this,
No,
right?
that was pretty good. I would not have. No.
I'm not going to lie. Before I keep going, I've said many times I would have made a good Sherlock Holmes. I'm very observant. And, okay, so let me think.
I honestly don't even know what the cutoffs are. Like,
For school?
no, for like the signs.
Oh, I don't know
like-
anything about them.
Okay.
I just learned what I was like 3 years ago. I don't
Okay. I couldn't guess. I have no idea.
Okay. This is hard.
This is so important.
November 10th.
Whoa.
That was just a guess. I have no idea. What is it?
November 5th.
Okay. That's not bad.
That's insane.
It's not bad.
Sherlock.
I deduced a lot.
Oof. Man, I'm scared. You know too much. No, November. So I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, so you're Scorpio. So you're right before Sagittarius.
Yeah. Okay.
You're like, what, like 3 weeks, 2 weeks before? Isn't it like the middle of the month? No, it's like I'm a Sagittarius. I'm December. I shouldn't have told you. We should play this game.
I would not have guessed.
I'm
100%.
December 14th. So
Okay.
89. 80s was a good time. I remember it. It was a great time. I always say it was really dark and I cried a lot. The 80s was
funny. Do you say like you're from Chicago, like you were born in the 80s? Like I say, I'm from Chicago. I know, but like
I say it, but I always make like a face like that.
See?
Like, yeah, I'm from the
okay,
80s.
You get it, yeah.
And they go, when? December 14th, 89. 17 days of bliss.
Good
Hair
Lord.
metal, let's go. No,
funny.
but what it does is it always makes the math of how old I was in what year easy, because I always know, because I'm not beyond 90.
Yeah.
So if you say like, oh, it was 97, like I was 100% 7. No matter what, I was 7 that whole year. In fact, I turned 8 at the very end of it.
I see.
So it's a really easy way to keep track of society and things and social norms. Like I know exactly where I was.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't get the sign thing. No, I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
Scorpios are like the intense ones. They're like supposed to be very jealous and like vengeful and dark.
This sounds
and
like you,
right?
You read this in your children's stories.
Yeah, maybe. But so they're also like creative. So I get that part of it, but I wouldn't say that I'm, I don't know, a very spiteful person, but maybe.
You sound like it. Vindictive.
Yeah. I could be.
If we talk about,
wait.
if we talk about, let's see, the points of this. If we talk about art school, Evanston.
Yeah.
What else was there? There was art school, Evanston, and Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'm getting to and then the state of the children's book industry
the
right now.
Great War, yeah.
The Great War. See, I found some parts where you can be a little vindictive.
For sure. That's true.
No, you were pretty polite.
I mean,
in expressing your pain with it.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't explored the deep-rooted. If you had said you didn't like the Page Master, then I would have maybe.
I think I really loved all of the strangest movies of that era. Like, I'm not even, I think I enjoyed all of them. I like weird stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
Weird is good. Different is good. There's no such thing as normal. There's just the illusion that you're putting together all the materials that people, it's like you're trying to tiptoe on the lily pads, which are the peaks of every bell curve ever in every industry. I should write that down.
That's beautiful.
That wasn't bad.
He's Sherlock Holmes. He's a poet.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Though? Like, that's what normal is, and it's impossible. It's an impossible feat. You're balancing on an old fence that's about to fall over, and it's going to fall into the not normal part.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't want to know why people resist it. Like, be nice.
Right.
Be polite.
Exactly.
Be loving and have fun and like do whatever you want.
Whatever you
can, and then whatever you want.
I know.
I don't understand the hate. I don't understand worrying about what others are doing. I don't understand about judging it so harshly. Like, you either like it or you don't, but like, why do you have to go on about it? The anonymity of the internet has made, I'm sure you know, because you have you have a decent following on Instagram. So I'm sure you've dealt with some weird stuff because of people being anonymous.
Exactly.
When you go to TikTok, when you go to YouTube.
Oh, that's
a
special breed.
Weirdest place. The comments people have left on this podcast.
Oh, really?
I mean, I disengage them. Like, I turn them off so I don't get notifications.
You can do that, right?
Well, people can leave them. I'm not going to silence anyone.
Yeah.
I just don't get notifications about them anymore.
That's
because at first, when I was starting out, I was like, I was excited to get a comment. I was like, cool. So I had to check into it. Aww. And then as you get more and more popular, and it gets worse. This voice sucks. She's not even good. Like, just the worst thing. I'm like, off. I'm done. I'm the one doing the thing. Why do I need to hear this? I don't need the validation.
Yeah. Well, that's very brave and good for you. I'm not quite there. I mean, luckily, the world I'm in is not. I mean, I mostly follow other artists and they follow me, so it's not totally like the general public. But again, I have had people who message me, which is different. Well, and you're not super anonymous, right? Like, you are, but you could track it to a profile.
Oh, you could find everything out about me so fast.
Yeah.
Just type
Whereas YouTube, though, and like TikTok, I feel like people lurk in a different way. So it's like a little more scary. But
yeah. No, I try to make it when I reach out. I reach out to people all the time.
Yeah.
I did it earlier. Like,
yeah.
but I have enough to back up.
Yeah.
You could see me. You have
Yes.
this list. You could type my name in, and I work at schools.
Well,
you could
right.
look up the school I work at. Like, there's so much. Just
That
photos,
is- yeah.
endless hours of podcast, interviews, news articles. I mean, the list goes on. So it's like, I'm also polite in doing it, so I don't feel weird about it. But I could, when you don't have enough to show authenticity of a person's character, it could
anyone. Yeah.
could get a little weird.
I know. I've thought about doing YouTube, like making, even though I hate videos, but that's like a good, entry point for people who are
Absolutely.
like trying to figure out their style and just like explore, aesthetically. But
Would it be like educational? Like,
I think like I like some of the ones that are sort of like day in the life. Like I think those are kind of interesting.
more like a vlog type of thing?
Maybe, but I hate that. But something like that where if like it adds a little more personality, which I think can be missing from the art world on Instagram.
Absolutely.
But I'm too scared of the comments. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
you have
weak.
3 options. You're not weak. You're wise. You have 3 options.
Yeah.
You could either just go Wild West, receive the information, all the notifications, all that.
Yeah.
Don't recommend that. The middle ground is let people comment. You just you turn off the notifications.
Don't look at it. Yeah.
And don't look at it.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I think if you shun people, it doesn't help the process.
Yeah.
And not all the comments are bad.
Right.
I'd say at least 2/3 to 3/4 will be fine.
Okay.
And depends on what it is and what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what kind of comments you get. Like, I'm gonna go look.
It depends.
Oh,
I mean, to sift through, the 1,700 videos on the DZ Records channel will be not easy. So there's thousands across that, and then the podcast one. Nothing too weird when I interviewed Steve Albini. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a record producer, famous one in Chicago. He did like In Utero for Nirvana.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and like the Pixies. He did
Holy crap,
not
yeah.
Too Little Surfer Rosa, but the
Oh,
Pixies.
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's great. He's tons of people. I mean,
that makes
Godspeed You
sense.
Black Emperor. I don't know if you know who that is. It's like an experimental rock band. But he's worked with everyone. PJ
Okay.
Harvey, The Stooges.
Cool.
Jimmy Page. I mean, the list goes on. He's been doing it forever.
That's incredible.
Awesome, really prolific in his output of art and music.
That's so.
So when I got to
refreshing,
interview
yeah.
him, it was like pretty crazy to talk to the
Wow.
person who recorded the records I grew up on.
Insane.
But, he wanted, this was in February 2022. And just to get the interview, and he said, okay, I was like, all right, this is awesome. But he allowed me to go to his studio and like actually be in his control room in front of his mixer and do it.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. And gave me an hour and like 10 minutes of his time. But he wanted to still wear a mask. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not going to make a fuss about this this is the biggest interview I've ever done in my life.
Oh yeah.
So I'll just do it. Like, I was fine with not wearing it at that time. But
Right.
if you want to wear them, like, I'm not going to make it. I didn't care at all.
Yeah.
But the comments between TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, oh my goodness.
People,
Because
I
he's
know,
like famous. So like people
I
around
know.
the world watch it.
Yeah.
Thousands of views. Like, so I was like, that's funny. People, for
Yeah.
some reason.
That's a hot topic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, he wanted to. He's older.
Right.
He's like 60 something.
It's
And it's his
bodily
his
autonomy.
studio.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and his right. And that's what he requested. I'm like, okay.
yeah.
I'm not complaining. I get to do this.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if he didn't say anything about the mask, I would have not worn it and been fine. But what I've realized with people leaving negative comments or doing strange things on the internet,
Yeah.
why you shouldn't let it bother you is you're the one doing the thing. And chances
Yeah.
are they aren't. So why would you care? Like,
That's
I
true.
was doing the interview, they weren't.
Yeah.
And not to sound, I don't know, rude, but they probably never will be able
That's
to.
so
So like,
funny,
why should I care? I'm not like, it's not like I'm better than them or
Yeah.
it's a competition, but like I'm doing it and they are not doing it. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Like, you're the one doing the thing, and that's all that matters. So don't listen to the haters.
I know. I wish
Don't listen to them.
luckily, I haven't had too many, but
I feel like with what you're doing in your field, it's
Yeah.
a lot less likely.
I know, but I think if my trajectory is like, once I start kind of building up a resume, and my goal is to publish and write my own books. That's kind of the North Star.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
So you would write it and do the illustration for it?
Yeah, that's the dream.
That's cool. Are you got any leads, or you're in a...
Kind of, sorta.
Okay.
I've illustrated other people's writing before,
Right.
which is cool, totally cool, but not mine. So I think that's why I think there's like this disconnect between like owning what I do and feeling that like self-deprecation, because it's like, I'm not like doing what I want to do yet, so it's all meaningless. Like, it's hard to parse through it like that. But I think I just tell them, like, once I get that book deal and that happens, like, I feel like I could take the hate. Like, not an invitation, but like something to something to like be like, I did this thing and this is like grounding me and sustaining me. I don't even necessarily need another one. I mean, I would like more, but I think to me that's just like the achievement of all achievements right now. That changes.
A book published.
Yeah. So that's kind of all I'm looking towards, and I think everything else is like, so I don't know.
Blinders on.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
How many writers/artists have written their own and illustrated their own books? That doesn't seem common.
It's becoming more.
Is it?
I think publishers like that. That's like an attractive thing because it's just like an easier negotiation process.
Yeah, one person.
Right.
And it's a huge win for you, because then you have more control.
It's a
like
control thing. I
own the whole world. Like, I did everything.
Because
so
the way that it works in the children's book world is the author and the illustrator never meet. They never have contact.
Are they not allowed to?
Well, they try to not. I mean, they could, but like during the process, because they don't want the author's vision, like literal vision, to affect the illustrator's work too much. Because
that's weird. You think they'd have like coffee and go over thoughts and ideas?
It happens, but I think they try to keep that separate on purpose, and they just, they tell the authors, we want your stuff, but like you have to trust us to pick the illustrator that we think is best commercially or whatever. So
this is following a line that happens in the music industry with like band, producer, audio engineer,
I'm sure.
mixing engineer, mastering engineer, record label.
Yeah.
They all, in bigwig situations, they'll all have a different thing.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because they want to have this unencumbered process where it's just like the mastering engineer just focuses on mastering the track, and they have nothing to do with the music. And you can just keep them separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I see that.
Yeah, I get it logistically. I think, too many cooks kind of thing. But yeah, so I think it's becoming more and more popular just to have your author illustrated. Is every illustrator a good author? I don't know. I don't think so necessarily. But I think it's interesting. I think it's the like purest form of
by far.
Like creativity.
Yeah,
is
it's like when you
have
a director that also wrote the movie
and
produced it.
Right.
When you get that, you're getting a very specific kind of movie.
Totally.
When you see a Wes Anderson movie, you know exactly what it is because he writes, directs, and produces it. Paul Thomas Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino. The list goes on of these very auteur directors that write, direct, and produce it. Like, I'm getting this kind of movie, and it's going to have its own unique thing because that's how they do it.
Yeah.
Versus ones where it's like, I directed it, he produced it, he wrote it, he edited it, and it gets... you get more of a bland type of movie sometimes.
Sometimes, right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So
why don't you publish it too? Start your own publishing company.
I know. That is the...
That sounds
that's
expensive.
what people say. Well, it is expensive, and it's a lot of time.
You're just out there
people
hand printing every book.
Well, no, I wouldn't go that far.
That's what your cabin is.
I mean, that would be cool, but it's more, I think people don't always know just the time, like, and effort that goes into just the process. Like, it's years of, it's like you see, it's like 32 pages, but there's, different steps along the way, different iterations, editing, and all that stuff.
Yeah, what about editing? Do you have a separate editor too?
So you would, yeah, right. And sometimes that's funneled through your agent or the editor
it's the same
himself.
concept, right? They don't know you. It's just a completely unbiased, more like just getting it right.
Yes. So it's a team effort, but it's like, again, separate. But I think self-publishing exists. I don't think I would be good at it because what you'd have to do not only is complete the book, pay for it to be printed, but then get people to buy it. And some people do that and they have the, whatever connections to go into bookstores and be like, hey, would you sell my book? Make a deal. And that's great. Those people exist, but I don't think I can do it.
It's a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
You have to be a salesman.
Right. And I'm
like
not.
a hardcore salesperson.
I'd be like, do you want this? I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to.
It's not very
good. I'm not even good at this.
I would apologize. Yeah.
Why am I doing this? I'm so sorry for coming in Barnes & Noble. That's another question I have for you.
Yeah.
What's going on with the book world? I mean, we got these Kindle. Oh, shook a nerve.
No.
How do you feel about it?
I think read and consume books however you want. I think I like a good physical book. I don't understand. I mean,
me too.
The necessity of of reading on your iPad, like when you're traveling or something.
It's so convenient for that. I get it.
Yes, it's a convenience thing. I think it's different. I will say I am not a audiobook hater. Like I think some people are like, audiobooks is not reading, but I disagree. I think that's fine.
I mean, it's consuming something.
Yeah.
You're learning about the thing. You're taking it. You're digesting it.
Yeah.
It's the mechanism of like your eyes.
Yes.
That's a different thing, but it's still
totally right.
You're still consuming it. I would say it's a different form of consumption, but you're still taking that knowledge.
Yes.
Like if you were listening to an audiobook about, I don't know, Hindenburg trials.
Always.
I don't know why I picked that one, but we'll just say
Fun.
World War II.
Yeah.
So much fun. World War II. Just to like learn about it. You can learn. It's like why podcasts are, why this is happening and they're so popular.
Right.
Versus reading about it. You can also read about it. It's just the practice.
Yeah.
You actually can become really good at listening because some people are not good at that.
I know, yeah.
Through listening to them. So I think they're different, but you can get a lot out of both.
Right.
Yeah.
But I as someone who is always working and needs, to be listening to something, like it's a godsend because I love reading and I love stories, obviously, and podcasts are amazing, and audiobooks are amazing, and I think there are people who are like, that doesn't count. You didn't read it, but I did read it. But I know. I mean, I'd always prefer to physically read a book. I would, but I understand also from a monetary standpoint and a just materialism standpoint, like books take up space. Books are things. People have too many things. I know. I mean, you should buy books, but I think, I have cleaned out too many basements to realize people have too much stuff. And sometimes it's like, why did you need 2 copies of this Jungle Book?
I love books, the artwork, the physical, to be away from technology, to get away from an electromagnetic field for once.
That's very true.
And to just have solidarity.
Yeah.
Just be there with it.
Oh, yeah.
And when you flip through it, that the analog feeling.
I know.
The
Yeah.
tangible feeling. It brings you like, I can't explain to it. It's something psychological.
I get
but
it.
It brings you into it. It's
Yeah.
just like when you'd go to Blockbuster and pick
Yeah.
out, the VHS movie, and you put it
It's
on and you have
different.
to rewind and you or vinyl. That's why I love vinyl so
Yeah.
much. Could I just stream everything on Spotify or Apple? Sure. But when I sit there and I put on the record and it has the artwork and I'm supporting the artist and they can now eat because I bought their record.
Yeah.
And you drop that stylus and you hear the crackle. It's like
Yeah.
it takes effort to listen to it. You
Yeah.
have to listen and you have intention behind it.
I see. Yeah.
Versus just throwing the music on the background, which is I do in other situations.
Of course.
When I'm
Right.
not at home with a turntable, I'll put the record on Spotify.
Yes.
Just do both.
Yeah.
And I
you
think
can do
there's a
both.
great time for audiobooks.
Yep.
And there's a great time to read it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're on a flight, so you do
Yeah.
your Kindle. Like there's
Yeah.
a great function for all of them.
Totally.
I think they're all really
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Just like sometimes it's great to make your own meal from home.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great to grow the
Yeah.
vegetables and then make it from home. But sometimes it's great to get Postmates or delivery for pizza because that's what Friday night calls for.
Right.
And they're all great for different reasons.
That's exactly. Yeah.
You know?
That's the same with the children's books. You
Yeah.
know, you need your weird, but you can also have your
Yeah.
don't talk to strangers books. I think that's fine.
One fish,
Options
two fish.
are good.
What do you think about Dr. Seuss?
Oh, I love Dr. Seuss.
What happened? What did he do? What?
He's also controversial.
What did he do now?
I think he was a little bit of an anti-Semite.
I
He wasn't. I think he
He
was.
was. A little bit. What's a little bit?
I
like?
mean, I know. I think they all were a little bit.
Why?
Unfortunately.
What? I don't get anti-Semitism.
Well, yeah.
Like when I
I'm not a respond to that.
you're like, yeah, me too. I also don't get it. No, I like.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't
Well,
get
these were,
any
like,
form of it. Any.
Old, crotchety white men in the 50s
But,
and
like,
40s.
Well, first of all, most of the. This is my thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
This is all anecdotal, but most of the Jewish people in America are Ashkenazi Jew, not the Sephardic Jew from Israel, right? Israel. That's what it'd be considered.
Right. I mean, yeah.
So they right. I think that's that's what it seems like.
Yes, like definitely culturally, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, every person I've ever met that is Jewish, they're either Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, maybe Lithuania. Like that's where their ancestors are from.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard someone like, yeah, directly from Israel. There are. I don't meet, at least in Chicagoland, it's not as common.
Uh-huh.
And what I'm getting with this is they're just like visually perceived as just European people. And yet there's still like this racist, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean.
even on that level, when you're trying to like quantify it based on the way you look, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I've never got it.
I mean, it's deep-rooted shit.
It's deep-rooted shit. Yeah. It must
Systematic. Yeah, I mean, it's all back and back and back and how, we're taught things in school and it's, I mean, I am ignorant on a lot of it too.
Yeah.
I am Jewish, but I am not.
You don't practice
I'm
it.
not. No.
Right.
So I definitely can't speak to like, any soulful spiritual Judaism. I just
Sure.
am. So I don't know what it, like I don't want to say like still consume Dr. Seuss if you don't want to be, it's the same as what we said, like separating the art from the artist. But I get why that would be hard.
But how many other writers and directors at the time were doing that? We just don't know about because they weren't famous enough.
And it comes out more and more. Roald Dahl was another one who did all the, which I love. I love Matilda. I love James and the Giant Peach, which is so weird, and that's like one of my favorite stories.
Matilda's hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
they're great.
crushable.
But but it's it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, all you can do is be better.
I don't know. Like I said earlier,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to start hating a lot of stuff because
I know.
that's only what we know about.
Yeah,
It turns out when you give people a lot of power and money,
yeah.
they tend to do some wild stuff,
Yeah.
especially
It's
back
all,
in the day.
It's
so
all bad. Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Moral of the story.
computers are amazing pieces of technology,
No.
but they could lead to the worst places.
Yeah.
You know, child pornography. Does it mean you're against computers? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't have an
Right,
answer.
right.
I just know it's complicated. It's nuanced
It is
as can be.
complicated, and it depends. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I know. It's all bad and it's all hard.
But you're going to write a book.
Yeah.
And you're going to illustrate it.
Yeah.
And it's going to get published.
It's not going to be against Jews, I promise. I hope that would be a twist.
Is this the book idea is the one you mentioned earlier? Like,
No, it's not actually.
Oh.
I have maybe like 7 or 8 like working ideas at
I
one
feel
time.
like you probably should be if you're trying to write a book.
And it's, there's different age brackets, middle grade, which I think you were just like chapter books. That's a different audience than like a, 5 to 7 years old.
Yes.
So you got to be mindful of that. But yeah, I think the stuff in my head and the ideas are, I think they're different and good. I've had some feedback on a couple. I wish someone would just be like, yeah, let's do it. And I've never really.
Like publishers?
Yeah, or I've been talking to an agent. Talked to a lot of agents, and she at least replied, so that's good. But she had notes, which is fine. I'd rather have notes than like nothing. But I'd rather have like a yes than notes. Just because I'm.
Well, like constructive criticism.
Yeah, so I have to. What's called like a resubmit. You have to fix things and then resubmit, and there's no guarantee that they'll represent you or even like
how
what
they
you do. It's
just arbitrary.
Honestly, it baffles me. I don't care about saying this. There's some really bad art out there.
Dang. About time something you don't care about saying.
People who have agents. I mean it, and I will say that, and I'm sorry, but and they must.
You can't say it with such conviction, man. I'm sorry.
I take it back. I know. I'm sorry, but I just mean like. It's confusing to me how they've made things happen for themselves. I don't know, and not that I like deserve
you think
it.
It's nepotism.
Maybe.
Probably, and that's usually
right
what it
place,
is.
right time.
It's always about who you know.
Well, and that's the thing. There are in the publishing world. That's another issue. Is that a lot of people who work in publishing also have books and are writing books and. Oh, whose books get published? I wonder. It's usually them.
Right. It's same thing as a film industry, music industry. Oh, whose record's coming out on vinyl again? Oh, the person who would have thought like that either works there or has been doing it for a while. They just have a name.
Right.
So my name didn't sell well, but it's just like they know someone. It is. I don't know what to do about nepotism.
I know.
Because it's like if I keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I have kids, and they just so happen to like, I'm going to make them suffer. I'm going to put them in the chokey. You'll get that joke. Like, I ain't buying your guitar. No one bought me one. Figure it out. Get a job.
Yeah. I mean, again,
You have to. It's like, I'm so against, because I had none.
Yeah.
So I'm hardcore. I had 0.
I know.
No hookups. Everyone in my family was in the trades. That's it. I had those hookups. That's as far as it goes. But none in the arts, none in music, none in education.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's good because it forces you to be curious and like you have to learn how it all works.
Totally.
And, like, do it and dive in and meet people.
I wouldn't trade that. I mean, if I had gotten offers right away, like straight out of college, I don't think that would have been good for me.
No.
I think
that kind of stuff messes with youngsters' minds.
I think that would have been bad. Yeah.
Look at those old people, those youngsters.
Hooligans. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I mean, but it's.
If you got it now, like hypothetically, say you wrote and illustrated, well, they approve you to like do it, like say, okay, do it, and then like we'll go from there, and it just strikes gold, and you just get this massive publishing deal, and it sells like whatever version of the digital copies. I don't know how it works with books, but say it sells like hundreds of thousands, and you get what are the percentages you get on? I'm sure it varies.
Yeah.
But what's like an okay one, like a normal percentage, like 10% of each book?
Well,
20%.
I don't know how it would work with if you wrote and illustrated. I get like 4% of royalties, but it's after a certain amount is made. It's nothing.
Yeah, it sounds like a record
And
industry.
I don't get paid very much either to do the books. But that's a whole other
So you
thing.
would have to sell out. You'd have to be like huge, like platinum.
Yeah. If you win
like
an
good
award,
money. Oh,
right.
okay.
I mean, there's no, unless you're like in a very elite, group, and that exists in the illustrator world. It's like the Mean Girls clique.
Tell me about it. Mean Girl, that was based up close to where you
That's
grew up.
right. In Evanston, yeah.
My girlfriend went to the high school it's based off of.
New Trier?
Where the name, Regina Dominican.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why her name's Regina George.
That's
Tina
right.
Fey, Tina Fey,
that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like based off that.
My boyfriend's sister went there. It's all girls, right?
All girls.
Yeah.
I've heard it's ruthless. He's got horror stories.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, hey, you put a bunch of wealthy all girls in Wilmette together. We'll see what happens. Like, you do it to anybody. It's like gonna be a mess.
It's a scary world.
Oh yeah, real mean girls. But
so
who are they? Tell us
well,
who they are.
and they're not mean, I should say, but like just that kind of top. And this is subjective, obviously, in my world, in my perception. And there's some of my favorites. It's like Carson Ellis, she's married to the Decemberists singer, Colin Malloy.
Small world.
Mm-hmm. He's great too. He has his own, but I think they're very talented, but I think it was a different time. And, she did the artwork for his albums and then they got big. So it's like all informs the other. But she is amazing. She's probably like the pinnacle for me. But she could do anything. Like she could do any project she wanted. Probably makes decent money. I don't know. I think. I can imagine he doesn't. He's a touring musician, but right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
he's big. That's big. They're big time. I think
they're big, but to like
be
like really well off and secured, you got to be like
okay.
It's the all the industries, film, television, fine art, photography, all of them. It's this nice big old pyramid, and that little tip part is in the music. It's your Jay-Z's and your Beyonce's and your Kanye's and your Taylor.
Right.
And as you go down, it falls apart, and it's a hot mess. And you're working 3 jobs, and you make $300 a year off your music.
Yeah.
And that's like most people.
Yeah.
So Decemberists are probably in a place. They're not too big. Like we are of the age that know about them.
They're indie.
But if you said them now,
okay,
would my 18-year-old students know there? Probably not.
Probably not. That's
so they're probably in a place. I mean, I could look up their monthly plays. And I could tell you mathematically how much they probably get from that.
Yeah.
They probably like make a nice working living off their thing. I'm sure they probably make like $100,000 a year,
which is fine for me.
But it comes with a ton of traveling and like a certain life disruption,
Right. Well, but he also writes too, so they're like a power couple in my in my world. But she probably doesn't have to worry about the same things I do. I mean, I know she doesn't because the jobs are there. But who else? I'm trying to think. John Klassen is another one, and they're friends. He just did. I don't know if you would know this children's book, which is weird, called The Skull, and it's very very creepy.
I like that name.
Yeah. It just came out.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
The Skull.
Yeah. So he's a weirdo, but I think there's. I don't expect to be in that level, but I'd like to move up a little bit.
You can get there.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. I mean, the only way to know is to do it.
It only takes one.
Everyone who got to that level, first of all, only got there by doing the thing.
Yeah.
And then the right break, the right talent. It's called luck. Preparation meets opportunity.
Totally.
So you're doing the preparation. You've been doing it for a while. And then the opportunity comes along. Someone notices it. The only way to know is to do it.
Okay.
I know
If you say so.
It's lame, corny, age-old advice, but it's so it's real.
I know.
Yeah, it's scary though.
It is scary.
Is this what you wanted to do when you were younger?
No.
What did you want to do?
I think I just wanted to read. I liked to read in
Bookworm.
English, and I liked writing probably more than art. So I knew I wanted to be in the literary world in some way, but I didn't think you could be an illustrator. I didn't know it was an option. I thought art was gallery person,
Right.
or more like craftsman or something.
Yeah. Your parents do any art stuff?
No,
What
no
did your
artists in
mom
my
do?
family. She did. She was in social work too, and then she's in HR. So both,
Dealing with people.
yeah, people, professions. My sister she's an environmental studies girl, so
So you're the black sheep.
I kind of am. And really, no one in my family, was artistic.
Are they cool with it though? They're supportive?
Oh,
Stuff?
yeah. And
Cool.
it's great.
So you don't get any passive aggressive statements at family gatherings and stuff?
I don't. And I'm
That's good.
very, very lucky.
You are lucky, yeah. I stopped getting
Did you?
them.
Yeah.
I definitely shut them all down. I was like, okay, don't make me whip out my how I got here, with the fest and stuff. But yeah, for a long time as well. How's your little thing?
Yeah.
How's your little
project?
You're recording little bands. You got your little thing.
God.
I'm like, oh my god.
It's not totally their fault, but it's if you could just open
I mean,
your
I've never spoke
mind.
that way to any of them.
Well, no, I know, of course.
But I mean, they don't anymore. They completely stopped. But it used to be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Do you feel like you had to prove
I just
yourself?
didn't say anything. And I'm
Yeah.
I mean, they just didn't. They're just naive. They didn't get it.
Yeah.
I don't blame them because I wish they could have said nicer things or been more supportive. Not everyone.
Yeah.
My brother he's been the most supportive out of everyone
That's
for a
cool.
long time. My dad too. Mom was worried, but she should have been. I was doing some ridiculous stuff on her property. Putting on festivals in their backyard while they're out of town. Yeah, it's pretty. I get it. I respect why they were confused.
Oh my God.
But as it got more and more successful and things were working,
Yeah.
getting jobs at universities because of it, it's real stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
It's
what? Still confused.
Yeah.
And now it's no one should say anything. But I don't blame them because it was a very unorthodox thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It makes more sense when you say hey, I'm in a band and we got signed to a label.
Yeah.
They can kind of get that. They might not
Grasp that.
understand, but they can make it. Hey, I started a DIY festival in back where I built everything myself with my friends.
Don't
and
you
now
get
bands around the world are coming to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm recording bands around the world in my basement, the childhood basement the family grew up in because it's the family home.
Wow.
So they couldn't actualize that. And I don't blame them.
That's a generation thing.
Yeah, they're just like, wait, what do you mean? That's the leaking basement where it leaks? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's annoying. Every time it leaks, I got to move everything. Trust me, I'm still doing it, but yes, it does leak. So yeah, I don't fully get frustrated with it because it was such an unorthodox approach to a career.
Yeah, it's not
that nobody
cookie
got
cutter.
It.
Yeah,
everyone was like, what? Even my own friends who were living with me, and they're like, "What are you doing? How is this? What?"
I know.
Yeah, so I'm not mad. I'm like,
funny.
I get it. It is weird.
Yeah.
At the time, it's disheartening, but you're like, I'm just
It's
gonna
so
do my
much
thing.
easier if we were just accountants or something.
Oh man, I've thought that, and then a lot of the bands that come through have those jobs.
Oh, really?
They'll take off work to come record here,
Wow.
and I get to talking to them, and they're always like, "This is so much cooler." I wish I did. What
Yeah.
You did. I wouldn't say the
People
band
say
name, but there was
that.
a band that came through recently, and the drummer was one of the highest paying professions you can have starting out of college. It was
Wow.
chemical engineer.
Oh,
no,
wow.
yes, chemical engineer.
Okay.
Which is with just a
Jeez.
bachelor's degree, you're making what doctors make.
Yeah.
It's a really good job.
It's important.
Yeah, really important. And he's just I did this and that. Then he was a high-end contractor,
Yeah.
just great jobs. He's like, but what you're doing is just so much better. And I'm like, you mean starving and living in closets and renting out all your rooms and building
Oh,
cabins in the
man.
backyard?
Yeah.
To get by? I guess.
Not
But
saving any lives. Yeah.
yeah, or not change.
I
But
know.
it ended up, you realize people want to do what they want to do, and most never take the
Totally.
risk. They never
I know.
do. Not even close to the risk.
Yeah, I know. And
So
we have to remember that, like, in,
at least you
in
took
the
it
doldrums.
and you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I get to do it. Not I have to do it. So
Yeah.
it's fine, I guess.
That's what you were talking about. You're like, you have this demeanor.
I know.
Like, you're like, yeah, I like children's book. And then you're just like,
But there's darkness.
there's darkness.
I know, man. That's
I wonder
me.
if that's a trend with children's authors or illustrators. Because they take that and they put it back into it to like make it better, cleanse it. I don't know.
Sure.
Your dad would know.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's probably true. I think if you look deeper in some of these, there's other things going on. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not really super dark. I don't think I'm not capable of causing pain. Let's just say that. But I feel, yeah, I mean, it's being creative, I think, is because you have to look at the world and you're like constantly observing and like consuming other things. And it's hard. It's not always a nice place. So,
but when it does work, like I'm sure when you found out about the residency, that was probably an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was.
Right? How long in like beforehand did you find out?
It was a while. I had known maybe almost a year, if not a little bit less. Yeah, they had to to schedule it out and get everyone, because there are other artists throughout the summer that stay there. So scheduling everyone, takes time. But
right.
I don't really know. I mean, I was recommended by someone who knew me from Instagram, so it's like, I guess that's helpful. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it felt weird because there were some big other names who were there staying in the same house as
really?
me. So
that's cool.
I know.
Oh, so they had other artists at the house at the same time?
Not at the same time, but like the week before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
that's cool.
I know. It was cool, and I would go back if I could. That's my cabin. It's gonna be there. It's gonna happen.
We're gonna get you one built.
I might.
With your all-window cabin behind the cabin.
Yeah. Oh.
Are there animals in this cabin?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any?
I have a cat. Which he's a particular kind of cat. He's very needy. Has some issues. So we've wanted a dog for a long time, but they probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get along. But I'm a dog person for sure.
I am too. I grew up with dogs.
Yeah, me too.
I love them, but right now with the way I like to live my life, where I just kind of do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Can't do the dog
Totally,
thing and the cleanliness part. The studio, the house.
That's hard with a cat. Yeah, no animals here, right?
No animals here. No, just me.
Yeah, it is a lie. It adds up, all the cat hair and the stinky,
Yeah, the dog hair. We get a big dog too.
Ooh,
like the dog I had at my old house before I moved, he was my roommate's dog, was 120 pounds. And
oh my God.
He was a big boy. His head was this high, and he was adorable. I loved him, but man, his fur was everywhere. And
you find it in your food.
When he's eating the water at his bowl, and he just walks, it's just water droplets everywhere, and it's not like clean water droplets. It's the kind that leave the little black line dots in,
Yeah.
And then his feet step on it, and so there's like, it's just
muddy.
And then muddy.
Yeah.
I miss the love of it when you want to lay on the couch. It's the best.
Of course. But it's I could see the pros and cons for sure.
Yeah.
I sometimes wish I didn't have a cat. I will say that.
Right. I know a lot of people our age, by the way, that got an animal. This is going to sound mean, but I don't think most people should get animals until they have like families or something.
Yeah.
Because then they want to travel and do this, and they want to go to parties, and they want to go out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you can't.
so-and-so. It's like, why did you get a dog at 23 years old?
If
like,
that's your lifestyle,
that's the wildest time of your life, and you decided to bring another life into it you have to take care of.
Yeah.
You just got to you just created a dumb child is all you have with this dog.
No, it's true. I mean,
you have a 3-year-old that's eternally 3 forever.
I
that's what
know.
you have.
I know.
So it's like, just wait.
No, for sure. Until you're like settled.
Because then they get to our age, and I've heard a lot of people
I
going
know.
like, between you and me, don't tell the cat or the dog, like, as if they understand. I kind of wish, I don't know.
I know.
It's like,
I know. I mean, I got my cat in college, which is like,
see?
yeah.
But
You're like, it seems like a novelty, or like it's.
Well, you don't realize
it's
at
fun.
the time.
I know, yeah.
Because you weren't 30
Yeah.
yet. You don't realize
Yeah.
what it's like to.
Cats are easier for
They
sure.
are definitely easier.
But it is, it's like he takes 2 different medicines. And it's like if we go out of town, you gotta find someone who. It's like a whole.
It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go to town, if you want to go here.
Yeah.
What if it's Saturday night and all of a sudden you got invited to an event that like, could be good for your career?
Yeah.
And you're just like, one of us has to stay, I guess?
I know. It's happened, yeah.
I'm sure.
That's
absolutely.
it. Arthur was supposed to come with me to the residency, but we couldn't find someone to watch the cat for 2 weeks, so.
You would have been fine. Just put a bunch of litter everywhere.
Oh, God. That is what it's like.
Arthur.
already.
Now, that was a good cartoon. I loved Arthur.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah, that's a good one. Also kind of weird. I mean,
Really weird.
anthropomorphic animals are pretty weird.
Always.
Yeah.
But like the most fun, because when you have, in cartoon world, you already get away with murder, literally. Mm-hmm. But then when you make it cartoon world and like animals or inanimate objects, you can do anything.
Literally.
Like no one's going to be like, nope, sorry, that's inappropriate for TV.
Totally.
Like Rick and Morty, Family Guy, Simpsons,
Get in trouble. Yeah.
regular show, Boondocks. I mean, the list goes on of like what they can do that normal shows could never do. Not even on like Netflix or HBO. Like they would not be allowed to do it. And as soon as you make it, especially when you do cartoon into things that aren't human, you can do anything.
And I think more things should be animated. Like,
it's fun.
I always think, like, not to go back to this, but like the Harry Potter series would be so much cooler if it was animated. Just saying.
Did you like them when they came out? Like, were you seeing them in theaters and stuff?
Yeah, I did. The books, I was a big, like, I went to like the midnight parties and stuff.
For the books?
Yeah. I know. That was... Like you didn't. You didn't?
No.
Nothing?
I was a cool nerd. You were like...
Were you a Star Wars nerd?
No. I mean, I liked all of them. I'd see them in theaters.
Okay, so I didn't like the movies that much. I was not a Harry Potter movie person. But
I didn't read a lot of those books growing up. I was outside building tree houses.
Right. Okay.
I was never inside. All year round, just like building forts,
awesome.
building trees.
Yeah.
So I was born in the 80s, right? So I'm like millennial like yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I really kind of grew up like a baby boomer Gen X kind of lifestyle, to be honest. And I say that because, I've said that before on this podcast, but I say it because my parents, the whole categorizing the generations is more factors than just those years. Socioeconomics is a big factor.
Yeah.
If you grew up
Location,
rich in the 80s, you could probably even have more of a millennial vibe now.
I gotcha.
If you grew up really low income, you might have been more like a Gen X.
Yeah.
If you grew up low income, strict family, no cable, no internet, I'm talking about myself, it's more like you're living in the greatest generation again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, go outside and play. Like literally, I will come yell when dinner's ready, and that's when you come back.
Yeah.
Get outside.
Yeah.
And, you know, if there's a fight, take it outside, then kiss and make up. Like, don't fight.
But if
take it outside, then kiss and make up.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, figure out everything on your own. I've never seen a maintenance man or a handyman at my house. It was me and my uncle.
See, that's
like figure out everything. Like you have to because you don't have the money to pay for it. So it's very old school.
Yeah.
I didn't have cable, so when my friends and everyone our age talk about cable shows, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't watch that.
Okay,
don't know anything about Arthur.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about Doug. I'm sorry. I wish I did.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
See?
But you knew Toy Story. You knew
I knew Toy Story, so I was able to see
out.
Some movies, but I couldn't see all of them. I had to sneak them.
Okay.
And I sneak them, wait for like a sleepover, and then, oh my God.
They're always, there were kids like that.
I was that kid. I was like sheltered, really sheltered.
Was I like super snobby, privileged Evanston girl? I don't know. I think I was.
I mean,
I'm rethinking everything.
I mean, I don't know you when you were 12. If we went back in time, we're close enough in age. If we went back in time, I think I don't. What I've noticed with that, because it is real, but what I've noticed with it, it kind of goes back to what we were saying.
Yeah.
It really depends on your intent and like the context of your demeanor, your tone. Are you?
For
do you have this upspeak, talking down on people attitude? Are you like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I would never go to that store. Like, are you doing that?
You didn't read Harry Potter.
Oh my God. You like
that's cool.
I would never go to Oak Street Beach. I would only go to Evanston Beach because it's just so clean. Like, if you're doing that, I'd be like, ugh. But
no.
But then within that, if you're like, I'll go to the beach, but like, I don't really want to go in the water because it's a little dirty. I'd be like, okay, we're halfway there. You're not wrong. The water is dirty, but like, don't swallow it. You'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, there's layers and levels to
it's a spectrum,
uppity.
Well, and I think Evanston is a weird example because parts of it are
rich as can
be, but it's also like one of the more like diverse public schools in the area, like of its, that kind. So I feel like comparatively-ish.
That's all you can do in that situation.
Well, right,
compare it to like, again, Regina Dominican
or
and
New
like,
Trier.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Kenilworth. What's it called?
Kenilworth.
Kenilworth. Like, I'm sure that high school's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
Yeah.
I have a colleague. He's more of a client that I've worked with a lot, and I go and film at this barn in Barrington. I do a bunch of videos there. It's like a part of my job, and he's a bass player in this band. He's like in his 40s, and he's a high school teacher at Lake Forest High School. And he told me this story that just blew my mind. He's like, you want to know how rich these kids are? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. He's like, this 16-year-old kid I have asked me in class, like students went around, what he should do with the $600,000 his parents gave him for his 16th birthday. And I was like, what the heck?
That physically hurts.
Right?
That's
And I was like, are you serious? He's like, I'm dead serious. I was like, that's insane. Who gives $600,000 to a 16-year-old child? That's a really bad move.
It's a really bad move.
If you have that kind of money, the least you can do is go, I won't let them know about this, and I'll just invest in stuff for them. And then maybe give it to them like when they're older.
Right.
Or like, but to just give it to them?
Yeah, that's...
Oh my God, if
terrifying.
someone gave me $600,000 at 16, I would spend it on the dumbest stuff. I would blow up stuff. I would break stuff.
Of course.
I would be like, I guess I'm going to drop out of high school. Like, I would just do dumb stuff.
Yeah. They can't even probably fathom how much it actually is.
No,
so they might
have no idea.
That stings. Yeah, well, my dad is a therapist, and he's an adolescent therapist, so he would work with a lot of the New Trier kids.
Oh boy.
And like,
I'm sure he has some wild stories.
It's the like drug use levels, like the like death like rates there because they just do stupid shit because they don't, I don't want to generalize, but yeah, like they have nothing else to do.
I'm sure suicide or depression
yes,
is probably high.
Exactly. Right. So it's...
Well, when you have nothing to live for, and I don't mean that in the way that it might sound like, I mean like, to have a struggle is you have something to live for.
Yeah.
It's to get through the day.
Yes.
You have these goals.
Yeah.
But to just nothing, it's just tea time, and then it's the country club.
Yeah.
And then it's Pilates.
Well, and you have to live up to your mommy and daddy like expectations.
Oh yeah.
And that. I mean,
I think the best thing you do if you do well for yourself, that's fine. I'm not against it. Best thing you do is not let your kids know how wealthy you are.
I totally like.
Just don't like it. You don't have to tell them about that. Just like growing up broke, my parents tried hard. I mean, it was pretty easy to find out. Tried hard not to let us know how broke we were.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder on that end than it is on the other end because sometimes you're so defeated, you're just like, we're not poor, we're broke. I heard that a lot.
No.
So it's like, when you hear that, you're like, okay, if I ever do have some stability, you don't let them know.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about those expectations.
Yes.
And you reinforce,
you make your own traditions too. Like, I mean, my parents divorced at a young age. So like my mom was sort of a single mom, and like
Mm-hmm.
we had, babysitters a lot, but like we, did what we could. Like you miss out on certain things, and everyone has their stuff, but
Yeah.
you make the best of it, and you try not to let your kids know
Yeah, don't
things
let
are
them know.
hard,
They don't have
but
to know anything.
and then you let them read weird books, and
Watch
then they're
weird
happy.
movies.
Yeah, that's what raised me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was funny. You're like, had this epiphany, like, wait a minute. Am I that person?
I know.
It's funny. It
mean, I
is
am
a
a little.
strange. It's like it's a funny like loaded town.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's
because whenever someone says it, everyone goes, "Oh,
I
F
know.
it." Like every time.
I know. Well, I know. But it's like if it's this thing, like if you had the choice to live in Evanston, like if it was available to you, like I would do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't really want to. I don't know. I don't want to live anywhere near here. I'm going to my cabin.
You're going
Bye.
to Maine.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to aspire for.
Okay. Thanks.
I do. I do. And no, I mean, in all seriousness, I don't care where people are from. Like,
Yeah.
Are you
It's
just a
all
nice,
about
good
the
person?
vibes. Yeah.
Good vibes, polite. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
You're following your dreams. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not your fault where you're born.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, it's not.
You
It's
know?
not.
And with that,
Thank you.
of course, you are free of it. No, I'm
I'm
kidding.
free.
And with that, it's important to realize, just like it's not your fault where you're born if you are in a more wealthier situation.
Yeah.
Same if you come from a more low income situation.
Yep.
And that's why those people, it deserves extra attention to detail and extra help economically.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we don't do that as a society. And the money's there.
Yeah.
It's always been there. It's just not being diverted to it, and it blows my mind.
People are very like me and mine,
Yeah.
And
What's
that's-
mine is mine. What's yours
yeah.
is mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I know. There's so many, like, not even, screw the government. I don't even expect them to do anything at this point. They could, but they won't.
No.
But there are so many famous wealthy people that came from Chicago and Chicagoland area that can help give back to their communities.
They just
If they do, I am not saying it. They might do
Wow.
little stuff, might have one organization, but like boots on the ground. Go back in there and like inspire people and do something. You have the money and the cachet to do it. Why not? I don't get it.
I don't know, because they're Kanye, maybe.
I mean, he's one that comes to mind. Yeah, no, he was too busy trying to get, his fashion thing and the Kardashian thing. And he got wrapped up in stuff.
He's something, yeah. But no, you're right. I think Chicago has a lot of big players. I don't know.
Big players. I mean, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Walt Disney. He's been dead for a while, but Walt Disney is from here.
Is he dead?
Oprah's not from here, but this is her origin.
She's done some stuff, right? I don't know. Who knows?
Not enough.
Yeah.
If she did, we would probably know.
That's true. You're right.
Because they don't do it without getting publicity.
Good point.
The basketball players, the rock stars, I mean, so many political people, J.B. Pritzker, they have their foundation, but like...
I know. It's a little scammy. I know.
I'll do it. I got it, everyone. Don't you worry. I've been trying. Here I am.
Yeah,
let's do it. When you get your multi-million-dollar publishing deal.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I don't.
Who gets that? Does anybody get that in that world? What about the top dogs?
Probably. I mean, if you do it like right or well, it's like you can get like multi-book deals at once.
Yeah.
And then that like movie, like people, that's
I think the movie thing
trajectory.
is the biggest if you can get it sold to a screenplay.
Yeah. The Carson Ellis and her husband, the Decemberist guy, they wrote a book together, and it's Leica is making it like a stop motion. It's gonna be awesome. But
when's that coming out?
I don't know.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's called Wildwood. It's it's cute. Yeah, it's good.
What's the name of your book idea? Or you don't want to say it?
I don't know. Oh, I don't have a title. I have one thing I'm working on about witches that eat oatmeal. That's how they get their powers. It's silly, but I like kind of like that like magical weird realm.
How funny would it be if the idea came to fruition, but the way that it was perceived by the publisher, I'm stupid. The publishers, they're like told like their buddies in Hollywood about it, and it ended up being like a horror film.
Oh my
and
God.
not and like A24
I would
hit you
love
up.
that.
You know the movie the Witch?
Yeah,
It's like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute,
Oh
I
my
thought I was
God.
making a children's book.
I would take that. That'd be
you're like, I'll take what I
better.
can get.
I know, yeah. So it's always funny to describe your children's book ideas because it's like to pare it down and simplify it. They all sound kind of silly, but so much of children's books is like the art and the writing together. So you gotta wait and see. That's all.
Yeah,
I'll
a
say.
good name is hard to come up with.
Yeah. What's yours?
I have a
Oh, can you tell me? Just tell me the name on air.
All right, I'll say it. If anybody listening to this or watching this or seeing a clip takes it, I'm going to find you. I'm going to lay you across 2 chairs and drop cinder blocks on your knees. I'm going to break your kneecaps.
Okay.
That's a good
serious.
threat, right?
I think so.
Okay, good. The Only Shadow.
Ooh. Gonna write that down.
Trying to break my kneecap. What do you think?
That's great.
That's great? You know?
That's great. It's very evocative. It feels like gothic horror a little. Like, is it spooky? Not spooky.
No, it's not spooky.
Well, this is the bug one.
Yeah. Well, when I tell you off air, you'll be like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay. Oh, I want to know so bad.
Guess how long we've been talking for?
Too long.
Guess.
How long?
Guess.
2 hours? No way.
Yeah. It's 9 o'clock.
Is it for real?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
8:57. We can end.
Oh, okay.
What? Like, 8:57. It's not 9. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being born in
round
89.
it down.
You know.
Yeah.
Tell everyone where they could find all of your work.
Oh yes. So on Instagram at lowercase letters Hannah HANNAH Bess Ross, and HannahBessRoss.com. That's kind of it. I don't
TikTok.
Nah,
No YouTube.
I don't
Twitter
tweet.
or X.
No. Just,
Facebook.
no. Does anyone? I don't know.
Facebook's huge. Yeah.
Oops.
Just not of our ilk, not of our age
I
group
think
anymore.
art-wise, it's not as helpful.
Not as much.
But I could see for bands and stuff.
It's where parents go to find their grandchildren. You know?
Yeah, memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
that's that. Thanks.
This was a interesting conversation.
I know, I can't
Went
even.
places.
I think I blacked out. I don't even remember.
3 hours. Could have watched the Titanic.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
If only. We'll go back.
This was wonderful.
Yeah,
I learned a
thank
lot.
you,
I don't
man.
know that much about what you do,
Yeah.
but I'm fascinated by it because I grew up reading and looking at these things too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful art form that is overlooked and underappreciated, I believe. So
Well, thank you.
thank you for
agree.
doing it. And I hope you get those. I can't wait until you get your publication. If you have the party and it happens, invite me.
Of course.
I'll come.
I'll give you a special thanks.
Yeah.
In the bottom.
For believing in me.
At the very bottom.
This was really fun.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it.
It was a good time.
Thanks
And yes,
for
everyone
having me.
follow her, find her on
Find
social
me.
media.
Yeah.
Hannah Bess Ross.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care.
Bye.
Ciao.